The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning State Fair specials. Savings from $30 on a tune-up all the way up to $950 on a new cooling system. Visit standardheating.com/offers for details on all their State Fair deals.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show.
I love air conditioning. I had it growing up. I had an air conditioner growing up, but I had one of those dads who wouldn't use it all the time. Very selective. How about today, Dad, please? No.
Dual zone, separate buttons on each side, climate control systems. Gee, I wonder if it was a married person that thought of that. And thought, hey, this could potentially come in handy if you're with someone you're legally bound to for the rest of your life. And you need them to shut the hell up.
I didn't even have a fan. Do you want to know how I kept cool when I was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12? One night a moth flew by my face. I go, oh, come back, moth, please. So I got a flashlight. I put it under my chin like this, and the moth came out. Oh.
Adriana, she turned up the thermostat.
Said she fiddles with the thermostat at your place anytime she damn well pleases.
Dusty, is that true? Tell me that's not true. Oh, criminy, Dusty. You might as well give her your wallet and your 401k while you're at it.
Brad, do you let the kids touch the thermostat at your house?
What? No. The thermostat is a sacred covenant. I can't believe we're even talking about this. This is madness.
Without your thermostat. No time.
Well, damn, how wonderful it is to be back. To be here this morning. Thanks for listening to the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. It is early. God help us. 5:42. Are we celebrating air conditioning today, Josh?
Well, I hope you guys have been celebrating because we've been excited about Air Conditioning Appreciation Days, which started, of course, as you know, July 3rd and wraps up August 15th, where we can thank our HVAC men and women for keeping us comfortable.
Well, damn.
We ran into one of the guys working in this building. It was all messed up. And do you remember he was kind of in a bad mood?
I don't remember this.
It was in the bathroom, and we go in there, and I see him from time to time when they maintain everything here. Super cool guy, right? Usually very cheery.
We often go into the bathroom together if anyone's keeping score.
It's kind of a rule of ours.
Yeah. We ran into a maintenance guy. Is that what you're referring to?
No, HVAC guy.
Okay.
Yeah, right. So I know you've seen him.
I saw the guy.
Yeah, you've seen him before. His beard was a lot bigger than usual, so maybe you didn't recognize him right away. Truthfully, it's gigantic at this point. Looks rad. And he's like, defeated. And I remember he's like, boy, you guys weren't kidding about this company being cheap.
That's right.
We told them to fix this however long ago, and now they had a bigger job trying to fix that. This is a gigantic building for about 13 people that still work here. And I've never seen him look so low.
The poor bastard. He was trying to fix the air conditioning.
He was.
Well, it works in this friggin' room, and I know, Wapple, it works in your room.
Oh, boy, does it ever.
It's always colder than hell in here. I hate this place. Nothing works here. I've been here for 7 years.
Too bad we can't swap spaces, because over here it's a lot warmer. It's got more lights on top of me, and then all the screens over here.
I'd like to switch places with you someday.
Just this board. It doesn't release as much heat as Wapples does when his catches on fire. But this board gets really warm.
You're always warm sitting by the soundboard. I'm over here freezing my nuts off. Nothing works here. I've been here for 7 years.
You've been here a lot longer than 7 years. I know. When I've walked in the door, I feel that rush of cold air. And then as soon as I walk to this side of the room, it's completely gone.
I hate how cold this place is.
Our doors are even hard to push in to get into the studio.
It's like
the old Metrodome.
Yeah. You're right. All the doors, it's like an airlock problem. We have all kinds of problems. I don't know what it is.
And it's crazy loud, too.
Yeah. So loud.
And it's so weird because I can tell if like when Nick's coming to the door, I can tell because before he even opens it. Because it changes. The sound of the air conditioning system in here changes. It's strange.
I can be in one of the other studios and say Wapple opens door to this studio. I can feel and hear the pressure of the door opening from the other studio.
It's weird.
It's so bizarre in here.
So to our HVAC guy, we feel for you, bro.
We appreciate you keeping it cool.
You're having a bad day, and we know that's our fault.
We know it ain't an easy gig. Boy, we've had a lot of company this week here on the program, and that'll continue today, don't you know? Our old friend Dr. James Parnell is going to drop by. Maybe you've Heard him referred to before as Dr. P. Jesus. So later on, we'll get the text messages cooking. If you got something that's a little off with the way you're feeling lately, or something about your hot body doesn't seem right, you can go ahead and text Dr. P. He'll give his best professional opinion on the matter. 8:20 this morning is when we're expecting Dr. P. Mental health. We hear a lot about mental health these days. Stress can be hell on your mental and physical health. I've told you before, when my brother and I were in high school, we lived with our mother. Our parents got divorced and then years later remarried. That's a whole different story. But when my brother and I were in high school, we lived with our mother. And we were morons, completely out of control, terrible students, drinking up and down, raising hell, fighting all the time. And it took the stress of that took a physical toll on our mother. By the time we got out of high school, she just looked like a chubby old lady. And then once high school was over, she said, "So long, suckers." And
I'm surprised that she was ever chubby. She's so thin.
Oh, dude. Yeah, you're right. She's thin as a rail now. We don't need to get into that. For Christ's sake, she needs to have a meal.
Well, she can't. She's full on vodka.
Vanilla vodka can't be your breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks in between. Have a meal. But we could get into that some other time as well. But by the time we got out of high school, you could tell by looking at my mother that she was not a healthy person. And then she said, "Goodbye, idiots. I'm tired of the both of you." And she moved out. I didn't see her for 6-7 months. Ran into my mother, and she looked like a completely different person. Thin, pretty. I said, "Who is this? Who's this lady coming at me looking for a hug?" Stress. That was the cause of it. We were the cause of it. Josh, you've admitted a time or two that stress and anxiety tease off on your well-being now and again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it gets me.
Work is a big part of that stress, isn't it?
It can be. Everything outside of what we do right now. Well, of course, you're afraid of absolutely destroying the show one way or another. Or saying something where you're going to end up on the TV. Because something you said didn't come out right. You didn't even mean it. They don't know you. They don't know that, hey, that's not that type of person. That was a joke that just went awry or something like that. I mean, shoot, especially nowadays, not to go on the whole cancel culture thing, but it is a fear. How many times after the show do we go, maybe we shouldn't do that, or maybe we should do this, or shouldn't do that?
God,
let's play it safe.
I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah. Would somebody think that? No, a reasonable person wouldn't, but you know what? Those aren't the ones we're worried about. We're worried about the people that aren't reasonable.
That
one person we're worried about.
Man, it's going to not detect sarcasm and take something totally out of context.
You sounded so elderly there, Josh, when you said...
I know, and I'm sorry.
I don't want to say something and end up on...
Well, that's the thing, because what would happen? Shock jocks, which we are not. I hope nobody thinks that is not our goal to... upset people or rile people up. It's the complete opposite. It's supposed to be fun and a place to get away from that.
Right.
But you know how it is? Like, one little thing could totally change that.
Work can be stressful. I know a lot of you think that we don't put in much for hours here on this program. You'd be incorrect. It's not just wander in at 5:30 and then read a propaganda-filled script that was prepared ahead of time by management, and then we leave at 9 a.m. and then just come back the next day to read another script that was prepared by management and the government. It's much more than that. It's much more than that. There are a lot of hours. So let me ask you, Josh, if you don't mind a personal question.
See, this is where I'm nervous. Here we go.
I got to ask you, does work stress and work things even creep into your brilliant mind during sex?
Boy, that's a great question. Yeah, I mean, certainly mundane things do, right? Where
mundane.
Yes. Yes, I found that mundane. Where I'm thinking, oh, did I leave the wash in or I leave the laundry in the washer, and it's going to reek, and I'm going to have to go back down. So that kind of stuff pops in.
Okay. Well,
especially when you've been with somebody for a long time.
Of course. You can think, when I'm done with this, I better get outside and mow the lawn. You're right. But work stress, you're not in the middle of the throes of passion with the wife, and you're thinking, oh, God, the ratings, and oh, God, I have to edit this story, and oh, my God, we've got to line up an interview for Friday.
No, nothing like that.
That's good to hear. It's good to hear.
But
other
so
things,
I like, I try and give myself 2 minutes of that time. And I figure I can pay attention to what's going on for 2 minutes, and then I can go back to work.
I'm glad to hear that. And it's totally normal to have random, mundane, as you put it, thoughts about other aspects of life while you're getting it on, especially, like you said, when you've been with someone for a significant amount of time.
And I'd imagine she's doing the same thing.
Of course. According to a poll, here are a few of the things we're thinking about while we bump. "24% of us have thought about work."
I don't think it's ever crossed my mind.
I'm sure it has for me. I can't think of anything.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm sure it has.
Now that I think about it, I think that sometimes, on like weeknights, I'll be like, oh man, like I got to get to bed soon.
Sometimes
that's right, when you're kind of thinking, I think I'm going to get some.
Yeah.
How late should I stay up?
Right. How late is worth staying up for?
I got to say, I've stayed up till midnight. There's been times where I thought, okay, I'm waiting this out.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it just now.
Go ahead.
We have certainly worked with people in this building who I believe think about work and specifically themselves talking, and it turns them on even more.
Oh, man.
Gross.
I mean, there's one guy I picture, he just takes care of himself in a mirror looking at himself to think how cool he is.
Yeah.
With pictures of him and rock stars in the background. Thinking, I am a content creator. This is what I do.
Absolutely.
I am an influencer.
I'm just as cool as these rock stars that I've met occasionally backstage.
You're not exaggerating, Josh. I know you've heard us go on and on at times about how this industry is just buried in douchebags. Unfortunately, it's true. My least favorite part of being involved in radio for this long are the people who are just 24/7 radio. It's all they want to talk about. It doesn't matter where you are, a baseball game, a funeral, they will talk about the numbers and this station in Little Rock and that DJ in Toronto. What is wrong with you? You can never separate yourself from what you do for a living? But anyway, let's not go crazy. But I've certainly thought about work while having sex.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing their specifics?
Well, Dana mentioned something about bedtime. I'm sure that's crept in a couple of, Christ, it's getting kind of late for me here, and I'm pinballing back and forth off of a stranger and thinking, I gotta get to sleep here but more what it is, Josh, the most common situation I find myself in, if I'm thinking about work while having sex, it's I have to finish this, and this before tomorrow's show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's pretty common.
That troubles me. It really does.
Yeah.
If I'm having a good night, I get all of that show prep crap out of the way before I start eating, drinking, sexing, whatever. So that's what it is. It's for Christ's sake, I still have 3 stories to edit, and then I pick up the pace a little bit.
Have you ever played secretary, where your significant other, or in your case, strangers, will help you out while you're doing that kind of stuff?
God dang, no. I've certainly been involved in some role-playing gimmicks now and again, but never sexetary. That's a brilliant idea. I don't know how I never thought about it.
I have something sexually on you? This is a momentous day.
Wow. I'm happy for you.
5:54, August 9th, 2023.
Because I remember coming in here one day and being like, bro, I had some missionary sex last night, and you shamed me, and you made it seem like that was just boring everyday sex.
Yeah, but you've played sexetary.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you.
Well, I was the boss in the situation.
Yeah. What else do we think about when we're having sex? 27% of us have thought about their next meal and what they want to eat.
Definitely.
I feel like that's on my head whether I'm having sex or not, so I guarantee it's probably come up in my head.
You know, that I think too much about that, too.
Yeah,
I look forward to, like when we're sitting out in the green room, whatever you want to call it, the hallway, after the show, I'm always thinking about the leftover enchiladas I've got at home or something like that. And I know, Nick, you're the same way. You're thinking, my God, I've got leftover pizza. I got to get home to it.
The first thing I'm thinking about is what I have to eat and how soon can I go back to sleep. Thinking about food during sex, I'm sure it's happened. I can't recall any specific moments where I thought, let's wrap this up. I've got leftover Arby's or anything like that. But 29% of us, this is totally me, 29% of us have thought about household chores that need to be done. Absolutely. 36% of us have wondered if their partner ever had better sex with an ex. Hell no, they've never had better.
In the beginning of a relationship, I've wondered if I could, hang with whoever she's been with before.
Yeah.
Certainly in the beginning of relationships.
Did you not follow that, Ashley?
I've just never had that thought during sex. Like, that's kind of sad.
I think it's more of a man thing than a woman thing.
Okay, all right. That makes sense.
You wonder if your partner has ever had better sex with an ex. That's never crossed my mind during sex. You guys know me. I'm not an exes person. You know what I mean? Some people will live their entire lives still mad at an ex or jealous of an ex or wanting to get back together with an ex.
When you were younger, were you like that at all?
Absolutely not. I've never been a jealous person. I don't care about exes.
Well, I
don't
really,
mean to,
even when you were like a teenager or something.
No, hell no.
I was a little bit jealous when I was a teen. I grew out of that quite quickly. And mostly because you see other bad examples of friends, right? Like, my gosh, that is pathetic.
Some folks just never let it go. And I want to be clear about something. When I say I don't care about exes, that doesn't mean I hate all of my exes. Absolutely, that's the furthest thing from the truth. I just don't let whatever happened in my past relationships carry over to the next. Where some folks, I had a girlfriend years ago where I would have too many beers. My ex used to have too many beers.
Oh, boy.
I'd show up late. My ex was always late.
Okay.
And very quickly, I would say, I don't care. Why are you comparing me to the, so what? I just don't get that frame of mind.
I wonder if you've had this experience, because now I'm so the other way, where I wouldn't say necessarily indifferent, but bordering indifferent, right? On not being jealous and like, yeah, go ahead, do whatever you want. That's cool. Have you been accused of not being enough into the relationship because you're so laid back?
Oh, God, yes.
Okay, I've had that happen in 2 relationships.
Oh, almost every time.
Where they thought, do you just not want to be together?
Yeah, do you not care about me?
But you know what it was for me, and I wonder if you're in the same boat. I just figured, if somebody cheats, that's an easy one for me. I guess we're not meant to be. We're not going to be in a relationship anymore. Like, I don't think I would border on that. I'd just be pretty much, all right, we're done. Mm-hmm. I'm good. I don't need to be in a relationship that bad.
Yeah, man, that's...
You know why? Because I have you. Now that I think about this.
That's the sweetest thing you said to me all day.
Maybe that's not fair.
I'll always be there for you, Josh.
I know you will.
Even if you break up with the wife.
Yeah, I know you'd be there.
I'd probably move in with you if you broke up with the wife.
Oh, if we lived together, how cool would that be?
We'd probably bang.
It'd be yeah, definitely. It'd be spotless.
That's funny that you bring up, have I ever been accused of not being into a relationship just because I'm so... You know this effing story. When I was dating a girl and she said, hey, what do you think tonight? You want to go bowling? And I said, bowling? Sure. And then she said, oh, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll just go see a movie. And I said, oh, movie? Yeah, cool. And then she said, well, maybe I don't feel like it. Maybe we'll just go out and get some something to eat and then we'll watch the ball game. And I said, something to eat, watch the ball game? Sounds good. And she said, you know what? You're so laid back over what you consider a good time, you don't even know what a good time is. It was something. Remember that story,
yeah, now
Josh?
I do. And
where
she
I said,
she
wait
came
a minute.
back and apologized, right? Like, realized it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I said, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. I'm so laid back that I don't know when I'm having a good... And she admitted, okay, that was... I don't know why I said that.
I understand in a way because there are times where we're very similar in that regard. Where I'm fine with whatever, for the most part. And if my wife's like, hey, let's go dancing downtown, then I'm going to say no.
Right.
Outside of... And she knows enough to... Like, just yesterday, we were watching a show... Lioness on a Special Ops Lioness on Paramount Plus. Pretty good. Taylor Sheridan, the guy behind Yellowstone and a million other shows, he does that. And they went dancing. And the guy is asked by the girl, you want to go dancing? And I said, my answer would firmly be no. There's no way. So my wife knows, and she likes to dance and stuff. So, you go ahead. It's just not for me.
Right.
But everything else, I'm totally cool with, to the point where I would understand somebody's frustration. Like, can you help me out a little bit here about where we're going to eat or whatever?
Yeah, I hear you.
They might want you just to contribute a little bit, and I know sometimes I don't at all.
Sometimes I think some folks just want an argument. They want,
you think so?
They want to say, hey, let's go bowling, and have you say, bowling sucks, so they can go, what? Bowling doesn't. I don't know.
It makes me absolutely furious that I have to, make all the plans. Or not, I guess, make, the final decision because my boyfriend just is laid back. He's like, I'll do anything. I don't care. I'll eat anywhere.
Why does that bother you so much?
Because, contribute, dude. I did figure it out again.
He did contribute. He said, yeah, sure, let's go there.
Oh, I hate that.
I understand what you're saying. I could see how that'd be frustrating.
And I've been in relationships too where it's like, where should we go to dinner tonight? Oh, I don't care. I'll go anywhere. All right, let's go here. Oh, no, anywhere but that.
That's what I hate.
And then you're like, all right, well, how about this? I'm not really feeling, Mexican tonight.
That's what I
okay,
hate.
how about this? So you're not up for anything, are you?
I'll just keep giving you options, but you keep turning them down.
You know what? That's great. Because I think everybody's been in that spot, too.
Definitely.
It's like, I've laid out 6 things, and for somebody who says you're totally cool, you're not cool with anything. How about this from this text? I am the complete opposite. I used to not be jealous at all, but the older I get, the more it happens.
Really?
I wonder why that
why.
is.
Why would that be?
You need a Nick or Josh in your life. You got a friend that you know is just going to be there.
The least jealous person on earth. You're looking at him right here. We're talking about a poll that was conducted on what we think about while we have sex. 52% of us have thought, oh, Jesus, when is this going to be over?
Oh.
That's too bad.
Yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry.
I've worried somebody else has had that thought.
Of course you've worried that, Josh. You
Sometimes you can tell, right? Like when they're putting in an extra effort being vocal.
Or they're on the phone with somebody else.
I have a friend that happened to.
See, Josh, that's your lack of confidence right there. So
it could be.
You heard women shouting out in pleasure, and you instantly assume, they're faking it.
Or when they suggest where to end things, then I think, okay, that's a suggestion that we should wrap things up.
Oh, where they would prefer
like a location.
That doesn't mean they want to wrap it up. They're just talking nasty.
All right, you're probably right.
See, Josh.
He's not right.
Yeah, I was going to say, I only say that when it's when I'm like, all right, well, I'm good whenever you are.
That's what I picture.
Hey, Ashley, can we help a kid out with his confidence over here? Josh, maybe, just maybe, when the women were screaming with passionate sounds, it's because you were giving them pleasure.
I highly doubt that.
You don't think so.
I don't think I have that ability.
Jesus, criminy. The kid, you can't straighten them out. Well, yeah, I mean, come on. Okay, again, 52% of us have thought, when will this be over? I mean, yeah, that's too bad that happens, but I've thought that. I'm sure I've been with a few women who have thought that.
Yeah, I'm sure I've thought
it's only
that
natural.
in my past. Yeah.
Not everyone was meant to be compatible in the sack. I mean, I remember hooking up with a gal after high school, and she called me 2 days later and said, man, that was some bad sex.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but she was right.
Yeah.
She was right, because we had never had sex before. And so I said, well, for Pete's sake, you can't always bat 1,000. I said, let's knock a few more out and see how it goes. And she said, well, okay, fine. And then we got good at it. You see what I mean? I mean, not everyone just, you blend right into some kind of a late night porno movie. Sometimes it takes some time to figure out. Oh, you like to go this way, and your leg goes here. You know, just because it wasn't great sex doesn't mean it was a total disaster.
Yeah, it's still sex.
Some people were never meant to be paired up, like years ago when Lionel Richie sang on stage with Rob Zombie. They were never meant to be a team. Number one, Rob Zombie doesn't have as much talent. Lionel Richie's got more talent in the tip of his index finger than Rob Zombie would have if he lived to be 1,000 years old. I think I've made my point.
What about team-ups? How'd you feel about Rockwell and Michael Jackson in Somebody's Watching Me?
It's a garbage song.
Kinda garbage song.
Garbage song.
I like what he did for that song. And
who, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, that was...
Rockwell and Michael Jackson.
And how did Michael Jackson land Rockwell? I'll never know for that song. Of course, Rockwell also known for Somebody's Watching Me.
You know who Rockwell was, right?
I don't know.
Wasn't he Berry Gordy's son or Quincy Jones' son or something? So he was friends with...
you know what? Yeah.
So that's how that...
Let's see.
We went from talking about sex to...
Berry Gordy, yep.
How Rockwell and Michael Jackson combined for the 1983 hit Somebody's Watching Me. What else do we think about? 53% of us have thought, how do I prevent this from being over too quickly? Sure, you're hanging on for dear life.
That's the most common, I would say.
Definitely.
You're thinking about
Especially as a younger
baseball.
guy.
You think about some terrible disaster, your dead grandmother, whatever, to try to keep from finishing.
I had a Kirby Puckett jersey in my bedroom in college, and I would look up at that all the time.
Just didn't think about Kirby's better game.
Yeah, think about, the replays of the 91 World Series and stuff. And
You never vocalized any of that to your partner, did you?
I never called her Kirby or anything.
Well, no, what I was thinking was, you're pumping back and forth, and you look down at her and say, Kirby went 5 for 5 in Milwaukee in 1987. 5 for 5 on a Sunday.
Does nicotine or tobacco ever help you, Nick?
Help me what?
Like last longer? Because my boyfriend will hit my e-cig.
Your e-cig?
Yeah, he claims it helps.
Oh, I've never...
Wait, like during?
Yeah.
Like takes a smoke break?
No, we're just I don't know. We're just doing the thing, and it's just oh yeah, it's right here. Hey.
It may possibly have. I've never heard that before in my entire life, that nicotine could extend your performance.
Would you do the same thing?
I have. Yeah. Is that weird?
I would find it weird. First, I'd wonder, when did you start vaping? To my wife. Well, if she just took a little smoke break in between, or
you know what? Actually, maybe it has. Like I said, I've never heard of that before. Maybe it has, because now that I think about it, I've probably had a chew in my mouth 80% of my sexual experiences.
Oh, really? Has anybody ever commented on that?
Yeah, some girls don't like it.
Yeah.
They don't like skull, the smell of skull or grizzly.
This is what I got a text her. I'm sorry, I don't have a name.
As we're French kissing deeply.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, how did I get addicted to nicotine? Wouldn't that be something? Well, that's how it happened.
I wonder if any other dudes in our audience have had that experience where you lock up, right? You're there. You begin sexual intercourse is where I'm going with that. And then she looks up and says, do you have a chew in your mouth? I wonder how many other guys have had that experience. Go ahead, Cubby.
Here's a couple for you. At least 5 minutes late, she says. Are you almost there is a frequent question. Then he knows to hurry up and just get it done.
We got to get going, so real quick, the other things
yeah.
According to a poll, the other things that we think about when we're having sex, 61% of us have thought about asking their partner to try something new. Hey, let's let Donnie tag in real quick. Donnie's sitting over there. He's not doing nothing. Let's do something new. Let Donnie tag in. Sure, you think about, should I ask her if she wants to try this spot or that spot or what? 80% of us have thought about how good the sex is. Which includes, wow, this is great, or wow, this is not great.
Wow, this is great.
And like I said, if you have a
yay, sex.
I did the sex.
If you have a situation where you hook up with somebody and it's not great the first time, it's no big deal. Give them a call and see if they want to make a run at it again. You get better.
Practice makes perfect.
That's exactly right, Cubby. And we got to get going. What a crowd you are out there. Appreciate you listening. Dr. P is going to be here a little later, and then, Jesus, before that, Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder. So we will go this way and come back the other way on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
They want to glorify the fact that they're criminals. It's dumb. These guys are dumb. They deserve to be tossed under the jail just for being dumb.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Hey, Minnesota. CJ Ham here. Huddle up for a second. You need someone to go the extra yard when your furnace or AC is out? Give the ball to the certified pros at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. They've been at it for 90 years. Ready? Break.
It's savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning State Fair specials. Deals on deals on deals. Savings from $30 on a tune-up all the way up to $950 on a new cooling system. Visit standardheating.com/offers for details on all their State Fair deals. Standard Heating, providing the comfort you deserve since 1930.
You loved Lala Kent on Vanderpump Rules. Now get to know her on Give Them Lala.
Is it weird having a million things to talk about and the only thing he wanted to talk about is Bravo?
Yes, and it's always weird. It's like when I went to the White House Correspondents' Dinner and thought that this was my chance to make a change, and they were like, well, enough about change. Scandal. And then I have so many questions for Howie that had nothing to do, and he was like, so scandal.
Give Them Lala wherever you listen.
Moms are amazing at tracking down hard-to-find items. Library books, socks, you name it. But sometimes help is welcomed. Care.com makes it easy to find babysitters near you. Sitters with the experience and skills your family needs, like after-school pickup and homework help. You just post a job for qualified sitters to apply. And since all Care.com caregivers are background checked, you can feel confident about interviewing and hiring. To get the child care help you need, sign up now at Care.com.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Oh, man. Let me dump a couple of text messages on you real quick like. Got a text here that starts this way. It says, Nick. That's my name. Don't wear it out. I'm still paying tribute to the passing of Paul Rubens. This individual, Chrome Stack Ranch Jesus, says this week is his ultimate F-off week. It's his last day of work tomorrow. Then he's loading the wife and kids into the RV and hitting the road for 2 years.
Whoa. 2 years.
Whoa. Okay.
I wish I came from money.
That is an ultimate
Are
F-off
U.S.
week.
Marshals after him? 2 years. That's a long time to be on the run. I mean, go on vacation.
I wish I was a trust fund baby. I'm just kidding, Chrome Stack Ranch Jesus, just in case you are hardworking. He goes on to say, I'm sure I'll need a good divorce lawyer in 6 months. Have Ashley give me a call with a number.
Yeah, did you have a good divorce lawyer?
I didn't use a lawyer.
You didn't?
No. It was pretty, when you're only married for 8 months, it's pretty cut and dry. You usually just take your stuff.
And I got a text from an Iowegian, too. It says, good morning. I listen to you guys every morning down in Spirit Lake, Iowa. Thanks for putting a smile on my face most of the time.
Oh, let's up that to all the time.
He could use a smile now, he says. By God, he's taking the family dog Trip into the vet today for an ultrasound for a mass in his abdomen that they can hopefully remove. I need some brotherhood power.
That's a really cool name for a dog.
Trip.
2 P's?
Yes.
I like that too.
Hashtag dogs are the best and a lot of people suck Jesus.
I love the Jesus name.
Hey, dogs are the best and a lot of people suck Jesus. Sorry about your bubby.
Oh.
And hopefully everything goes well. All right. Trip, you like that name for a dog?
That's a great name.
Cute.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking about, in the future, although I am an upper echelon member of society, I'm a cat owner now, and I have been for years. I am still thinking about maybe in a year I'll go get a dog, right? Hopefully the cats are fine with that. If they're not, I'll take the dog back. It's okay, you guys. It's okay. I didn't mean anything. I'll take the dog back.
Got an idea what kind of dog you might
get? Like a female dog.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one of those golden retrievers. I don't know.
Oh, that's a sweet dog.
But I was thinking about names already. I've been thinking about names. What do you think about this for Female dog. Prunes.
Prunes?
Yeah.
What's the significance there? Because I have to up that intake to keep things moving for me.
There was a little gal, a friend of my dad's daughter. She was quite a bit younger than my brother and I, but our families got together a lot. And my dad thought that this little girl always seemed grumpy, so he called her Prunes. She had a facial expression like she just ate prunes. Now that'd be cute for a dog. I'll get back. I'll get back.
Cute. So Trip's the name of the dog, and it reminds me, our former coworker, who we really, really enjoyed working with. Strange guy, but I loved working with. Remember when he was in a breakdance crew?
Yes.
Wasn't his breakdance name Trick?
Yes.
That's great.
That's cool.
It was.
And if you knew him, it so doesn't fit his personality, which makes it better.
I might go with Prunes. All right, some of you might already be aware of this as we begin the stupid news. Some of you already are aware of this. I'm going to go ahead anyway. Inflation is a problem here in America. It is. Inflation. It's bad.
It is crazy. And it's just the fact that it's hitting everything. It's not just one place you're spending a little more money. It seems like it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Has it affected the weed that you buy, Wapple?
Oh, for Christ's sake, again with the weed.
No.
Really? You got a reasonable weed dealer?
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad to hear
That
that.
would be a bummer. I can't imagine if that had ever happened.
Raises the prices on you.
Like, are you kidding me? Okay. I'm not
All
going
right.
to you
yeah,
anymore.
I guess I'm
Bye.
going to find someone else. Later, dude.
Inflation is also a problem in Australia, where, by the way, Kiss sold out 11 massive outdoor shows when they first toured there back in 1980.
Oh, they're big in Australia.
Yeah, back in 8. One critic said of those shows back in 1980, Josh, the critic said, from the screaming 120 decibels of pure rock power to the exploding cannon fire, a Kiss concert is a totally energetic, unforgettable experience.
I wish I could have seen them back in the day.
But anyway.
I saw them once on the Psycho Circus tour.
Oh.
It was all right.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I mean, it's very theatrical.
I was talking about inflation. Everybody's getting boned by inflation in Australia. As a matter of fact, sex workers over there are saying that inflation is about the only boning they've been getting. Sales are down. The economy is getting pounded, not the sex workers, they say. One sex worker in Sydney, Australia, who goes by almost the egregiously unoriginal name of Jenna Love. Jesus criminy, put in some effort. She says when you get folded for a living, you're relying on people having a disposable income. The cost of everything goes up, erections go down. Jenna Love said it kind of works like this. If you have regulars, you'll get through it. But if you aren't established, it's a real struggle. Some of the working gals over there, Cubby, are only landing 1 gig a damn month.
Whoa. Oh, no.
Yeah, it's probably not going to pay the bills.
Not going to pay the bills. Tough times. And some of you might not think I'm legitimately sympathetic to this, but I am. Back when I used to get drunk at the local strip joint 3 or 4 times a week, I would often ask for a couple of lap dances from the loneliest looking dancer, just simply because I'd think, damn, we've both been here all night, and I haven't seen one dude even agree to let her sit down at the table with them. So
That's
I'd ask
nice.
her, isn't that nice,
What
Ash?
a great sacrifice.
I'd ask her to launch a couple of dances my way, just to pick up her spirits.
I've done that. Where,
You've done that?
Yeah, where you see that they've been turned down over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And then, usually say, okay, I guess so.
Yeah, because you're thinking she's got to pay the bills too.
Yeah.
So some of you is on the topic of this sex workers struggling in Australia. You might think, well, I thought all these gals had OnlyFans pages where every other week they're buying a new friggin' Mercedes because of all the suckers throwing every dime they make at them. Well, Jenna Love says for every OnlyFans success story, there's a dozen or so sex workers who are currently barely making rent. We might have to have them move in with us. We might have
Darn.
to have
Oh,
them.
no.
Twist my arm.
Bunny Love, what the hell's her name again? I just said it. Jenna Love. She's still talking here. She's doing okay because she has regulars. But her regulars, because things are tough all over with inflation, her regulars have cut back. Nowadays, they're only pinning her up against the headboard of a hotel bed and pumping away like a high school kid once a week or once a month. They used to come see her a lot more often. Oh, remind me, I'm going to tell a story about regulars at the Boom Boom Room. Okay. She's got regulars, but still, they're not showing up more than once a month. By the way, a single hour with Miss Love, while your wife and kids think you're at a fantasy football draft or something, will set you back $600.
That's kind of insane.
Yeah,
that is. I mean, I haven't been to a prostitute, but you always, well, I'm sorry, I hope that's not offensive to her, a sex worker. But I always thought it was like $50 or something like that. Wapo, you've probably been to a couple. What does it go for?
Yeah, I've never been there.
I always thought at least 200 or so.
Oh, that much?
Yeah, I thought it would be in hundreds.
You guys are in the right
maybe
neighborhood.
For over the pants stuff.
What?
What about
who's paying for over the pants stuff?
Oh, former coworker of ours paid $2,500 for over the pants stuff.
Pretty penny for that.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, Dana. Yeah.
He could have gotten an engagement ring.
Mandy Love, I lost it again. Jenna Love. She does offer something called a cuddles and chat option, which goes for $250 an hour. But that service involves no sex, something that Wapo got painfully used to until that very charitable landlord came along.
I bet there's an option to upgrade she'll bring up, Like back in the day at McDonald's, they'd want to know if you want to supersize it. I bet the same thing.
Oh, for sure.
We've been cuddling for a while. For an extra, $400 or whatever, we could do some sex if you'd like.
The story wraps up with this cute line here. It says, sex sells, but you have to be able to afford it. So speaking of my days back at the Boom Boom Room, I got to know quite a few of the girls at Rick's Cabaret. A couple of them over at Seville. Not only did I hang out there a lot, but we did a lot of, as our listeners are probably aware of, we've had a lot of parties at Rick's. What do we call that one again?
Toys for Tatas.
Toys for Tatas. Yeah, right. So I got to know some of the girls, and one night I was sitting with my back to the door, and one of the dancers was sitting with me, and we're just jaw-jacking, blowing through some drinks. Gorgeous, just stunning young gal, and cool as F, too. We had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. And as I'm talking to her, I watched her facial expression change. And I noticed that she's looking beyond me. And so I look behind me to see what she's looking at, and here comes, the oldest guy in the county. He's shuffling. Oh, how's everybody doing? Oh, hey, how are you, Charity? He's saying to some of the girls, says he's older than the hills. And the girl, the stripper that I was talking to, says, well, I gotta go. Here comes one of my regulars. I just thought that was an awesome moment. This guy was 100 friggin' years old.
Good for him.
And she walks up, hey, Ernie, what's going on?
Remember when...
That's rent.
No, no kidding, right? Mm-hmm. When you, me, and the boss, we went to a strip club at 4 in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And
normal time.
Yeah, it was dead in there, except there were 2 tables with a single older man, right? It kind of sparsely put out through the establishment.
Right.
It's funny. We're going, look at these losers, but then you look at the time, we're like, oh, shoot, we're here at 4 in the afternoon.
We're also here at 4 o'clock, yeah.
At least there was 3 of us being losers together.
Yeah, that helps.
Jesus, criminy. A cemetery down there in Florida can't get right. For a second time in the past year, a dead lady's been buried with the wrong dead husband. God forbid when you pass away, I could see you kind of
even in the grave, still getting lucky enough to bounce between women's.
Every time I come to visit Nick's grave, he's parked next to a different female.
It reminds me of when we were in Jamaica, where I'd have to knock on all these different huts to figure out exactly where Nick would be waking up.
Oh, I misbehaved in Jamaica. I did. This is some kind of veteran cemetery down there. Everybody's pissed off about this. It says here in August. This is a first for me. I've never heard this word before. Tell me if you're with me. In August, the cremains of somebody. Cremains.
The cremains, yeah.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, me neither.
Really? Yeah, when
No,
somebody.
I haven't, no.
Really?
Oh, okay.
That's just-
We wouldn't
I
lie to
guess
you,
it's-
Wapple.
I guess it's less common than I would have thought. I thought that was pretty well known. Yeah, when somebody's cremated, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Those are your remains.
Hadn't heard that one yet. In August, the cremains of a woman were mistakenly mixed. Okay, so not only did they park a dead lady next to the wrong dead husband, but they mixed the wrong cremains together of a husband and wife, of a man and woman. You following that?
I don't really see that being possible to like separate after being
Exactly.
No.
That's something where when it's done, it's kind of done.
Yeah.
So when my wife and I got married, she came with 2 kids, right? Buy one, get 2 free.
Yep.
And we did, somebody had said, hey, there's this thing you can do to kind of represent the blending of the family. So we all had different colored sand. And then you pour it into one container and it all mixes together, right? To say, hey, we're one at this point.
How ritualistic and special.
But imagine if my wife and I got divorced and I'd have to be picking out those individual grains of pink sand.
Christ
I had to
almighty.
do that when I got divorced.
What?
Yeah, do you not remember we did the sand thing?
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, I think we might have left at that point.
What are you talking about? You didn't actually sit there and separate.
No,
what
I thought you were being.
Yeah.
You were being serious there.
So what are you saying?
No,
You had
I
to do
threw
what?
that away. You just throw it
Oh, you
away.
just chucked it?
Of
Yeah.
course, yes. That's what a reasonable person would do.
You know how, like Kirk Cousins, he's got that death rock bucket outside of his house where
It's really annoying. Yeah.
he takes one out every day just to remind him, hey, I'm one day closer to death.
Right.
I've been doing that with my wife's grains of sand just to say, probably one day away from ending this relationship.
Man, this bottle's getting pretty light. You're getting there.
A lot of Bitneys left.
So yeah, they've been screwing up at this cemetery. Now this summer there was another F up. A widow's casket was found in a crypt with the wrong husband. And that's no fun. You pack up the kids to go see grandma at the cemetery and you find her taking a dirt nap with another man, It sounds like part of the reason that these dead folks were buried with the wrong partner is that the dead people had similar last names. So kind of like the abnormal/Abby normal mix-up that Igor and Dr. Friedrich von Frankenstein had back in the day. The names were very similar. Where do I put this lady? Hansen. What'd you say, Jensen? Hansen.
You'd think after the first mistake, you would be extra careful to
Yeah,
make sure you got
for
it
real.
right the next time.
They got things straightened out now. They got the right people paired up. But like we were saying, I'm not sure how you go about separating the ashes of a couple of dead bodies. They've resolved the matter. They apologized to the families, this and that. What the hell is this?
Sorry.
Something happened?
Sprinkler fitter Jesus.
Did I fart?
No, I don't
Oh.
think so. I mean, which is rare that you're not these days. I wish you guys were here. It's like honestly, it doesn't smell, but it's
They
like
never smell.
It's like a sound effects machine. I mean, wouldn't you agree, Nick? They're perfect.
Something's wrong with me the last 4 or 5 months with the gas. I can't stop. Cubby takes the brunt of it. Dana, you didn't know that my S doesn't stink?
I haven't been around you when you did.
Never. It doesn't. I am a friggin' a miracle.
It's amazing.
It's very rare when it does.
I'm not exaggerating. My farts do not stink ever.
They have been. We should be recording them. It's pretty gross. For some reason, it's less gross when you get them on a sound effects CD or something. But you really could sell those.
I'm sorry. I apologize a lot, don't I? Do I or do I not?
Every time.
I do. I don't know what's wrong with me. But the good news is I am another example of how I am a cut above the average person. There is no scent at all.
Sprinkler fitter Jesus said his buddy did the sand ceremony, right?
Okay, where you mix the sand when you get married?
Correct. And he said, I accidentally knocked the sand jar over immediately after the ceremony. Oops, he said.
You broom it up and you start all over again.
There's just popcorn kernels and whatever was on the floor.
Yeah. Air. I'm sorry I was going off about my farts. That's disgusting and stupid. Let's move on to the next story. Word is 36 school children in Colombia were convulsing up and down and flopping like crappies all over the schoolhouse a few days ago after the kids were effing around with a Ouija board. Some of the kids claimed they went temporarily blind. New kid in the corner puking his guts out. But they were flopping or convulsing.
I've only tried it once, and it was really boring.
I tried it.
The Ouija board?
Same thing.
You were bored as well?
Oh, it was stupid. But this all reminds me of this boy whose parents made him come home directly after school, and when they went to their church, they shook and lurched all over the church floor.
That's a pretty good impression.
I saw a documentary on those guys, Crash Test Dummies. It's pretty fascinating.
How did you sit through? I think I'd rather be looking at a Ouija board.
Yeah, believe it or not, it wasn't the longest of documentaries.
I was just going to ask how long.
The documentary. For 3 months in 1994, people gave a rat's ass about the Crash Test Dummies.
Yeah, it's definitely background entertainment, if you're you're on your phone or something.
Didn't invite all the buddies over for that one.
Always just gone there.
That was a regular when we were 93.7 The Edge.
I hated it.
I remember those days.
Hated every second of it. So the story is that the kids were playing around with a Ouija board, and then they all went mental. Before they were rushed off to the hospital, they were sprinkled with holy water, and everyone prayed about it. I would have loved to have been there for that.
Yeah, that doesn't help, right? When the adults are getting in on that. Add some legitimacy to it.
Remember the scene from Rush Hour where right after Chris Tucker wasn't sure who kicked him? Right after
Which one
that,
of y'all kicked me?
and the Japanese gangsters are surrounding them. They're going to kill him. He grabs hands with a couple of them and says, let's pray about this.
Boy, Chris Tucker's fun.
That's a great scene.
Okay, you gonna kill me? All right, if you gonna kill me, put the gun down, fight me like a man.
Uh-oh.
That's right, fight me like a man. Anybody can shoot somebody. That's what I'm talking about. Bag, give me some room. You don't know who you messing with. I'm gonna knock that yellow. Which one of y'all kicking me?
So good.
Let's
I love
pray
that
about
it just
this.
took him a couple of seconds to figure that out.
Folks say it was a chain reaction type of a setup here when these kids flipped out. One kid started acting funny, and then the next kid touched that first kid, and then the second kid got squirrely, and it went from there. Are you able to follow where I'm going with that?
Yep.
One adult who was in the mix, maybe a teacher, said it was diabolical what was happening. Someone else went ahead and said there's two versions of what happened. One is that the Ouija board made them act this way. Others said it was because of an online challenge they found on the internet. Now, I don't want to jump to wild conclusions, but something tells me it was the internet.
I would guess so.
Most of the kids have recovered by now. Thankfully, they're better now. It was a close call, by God. There's an investigation into this incident. And I knew this silliness sounded familiar. A few months ago, also in Colombia, 28 schoolgirls were hospitalized after using a Ouija board at school, and then apparently they lost consciousness. Some local nut job in town said that the girls had opened a doorway to evil. For Pete's sake.
Trying to think of an establishment where you can make that connection, where when you go in, you're opening a door to evil.
Oh, wow. That's a great question.
For fear of losing any possible sponsors, I guess I'm not going to go there. But
Right.
A couple come to mind.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a couple of bars. There's a couple of bars in Wisconsin that we hit when we take road trips that away, where I think you could say that, when we crack the door on the way in the joint, it's more or less opening up a doorway to evil, because by the end of the night, we're not ourselves anymore. Now, I have a hard time with this kind of stuff. Here we have a guy. He's gone ahead and chopped off some of his fingers to look like an alien. And his next plan is to remove some of his skin and muscle, again, to look more like an alien.
Yikes.
And I want to be clear about something. I don't care what the hell anybody wants to be. If you want to be a boy, a girl, a dog, a turtle. I guess the good news is if you want to be a turtle, Josh likes turtles.
I like turtles.
I like turtles.
I know a lot of people wet their pants these days over guys becoming women, women becoming guys. No defining sex. That's your deal, not my business. Doesn't bother me at all. Don't care. But pictures of this guy transforming himself into an alien are troubling to me simply because it looks so painful.
It does look very painful, and it is up on 93x.com.
Yeah, feel free to check this out on our website. I'm sympathetic because he looks to be in pain. And I think we've covered this dude before. Apparently,
we have, yeah.
We have?
Yep.
He's the most modified man in the world. And the pictures will tell you the whole story. Here's a little bit of a rundown on what he's got going on with his look. He has his teeth have been shaved into fangs. He's had skin implants, a split tongue. He's got tattoos from top to bottom. It looks like his eyeballs have been somehow blackened, which is a great Metallica song off their 1988 record, And Justice for All.
Boy, you're not kidding.
He calls himself Marcelo B-Boy de Souza Ribeiro. He's 40 years old by now.
I wonder if he has been in any movies. I mean, he'd be a great character in a movie.
Dude, he would.
Like you got like a Mad Max style movie.
He spent a lot of monies on his quest to look like an alien devil, I think is exactly what he's going for. He's not finished yet. And like I said, he's had his index fingers blown off to make it look like he has claws, not boring regular hands like a human being.
That's commitment to the look, is it not?
Yeah.
Definitely.
And he's going to remove excess muscle now to apparently better define his alien appearance. Like I said, check out the pictures. I can't help but flinch when I see this guy. I just can't imagine the pain.
Yeah, I wonder how bad that filing your teeth down hurt.
Oh. Gives me shivers.
Yeah, it's mostly the eyes for me. Can't get past that part.
Now, there's video of this here next story, and this is my favorite story of the day. There's video. You might want to take a look at this. This is fun. Some poor bastard tried to rob a 7-Eleven out there in California. And he ended up taking a terrible beating from the 7-Eleven employees.
That's awesome.
They tuned this effing derelict up with a kendo stick like I was watching an old ECW match between Sabu and Balls Mahoney. They whacked this effing guy with a kendo stick until he cried.
He cried. That's got to be embarrassing as a thief.
Yes.
You get beaten so bad you cry.
In the video, dude comes into the joint with a blue t-shirt over his face, and he just ups and starts filling up a trash can with every damn thing he sees in the store. Food, smokes, to be more specific, chips, Bosco sticks, hard-boiled eggs, chili cheese Fritos, and grapefruit juice. He's putting everything in the... At first, the two employees talk about letting this effing nutcase go. You know, just let him go ahead. They talk about how they shouldn't intervene because insurance will pay for their losses.
And he looks like he's on something.
Exactly.
You know, when his hands are moving to his back, I mean, it's crazy. He looks like he's on, has no idea what's going on.
And he looks like he's covered in piss. I don't blame them for at first thinking, we're just going to let this guy go. Why bother? At one point, the crook threatened to shoot the fellas. But when the guy tried leaving, that's when they started tuning him up with that kendo stick. Which I learned later, by the way, was autographed by former hardcore WWE legends Tajiri and the Brian Kendrick.
Oh, that'd be worth something.
Yeah. The employee with the stick, man, was he more or less gave the guy's legs a beating. He focused on the guy's legs like Charlie and Eddie Murphy did to Rick James when Rick was grinding his dirty boots into Eddie's brand new couch.
That makes sense, though. Then he can't run away.
Yeah.
And he was beating him so bad the guy with the kendo stick, that his pants kept coming down.
Yeah.
There's a lot of butt crack in the video.
Unfortunately, you get a lot of ass crack in the video as the guy's just with the kendo stick.
That video's up on 93x.com too.
It's fun.
He could use one of those Duluth Trader shirts.
Oh yeah, that would cover that.
Cover up that B-crack.
I should give my friggin' dad a closet full of those friggin' things. His ass crack is on display 24/7. It's terrible. Once I dropped a quarter down there to see if he'd stand up or to see if it would. After several times of being wailed on with the kendo stick, this crook got escorted out the store by the guy who filmed the whole thing. It was a hell of a deal. That was my favorite of the day, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for the guy, but, he's obviously got some issues. But you can't be stealing. You just can't be doing that.
Oh, man. Yeah, I like these guys' style, too.
Well, they did everything they could.
They did.
Not to beat the guy.
They did. They tried to talk to him. They just tried to physically restrain him and say, no, you can't leave with all. And then they had to get out the kendo stick. I like how they might have had a prior conversation. This is a tough neighborhood. What, do you want to get a gun or something? Hell no, I got a Steve Blackman kendo stick over here. I watched the Attitude Era. I don't need any help with it. Yeah, I'll just have the kendo.
Those things hurt.
Yeah, they do.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
A big crowd assembled, a very popular Saturday night stand.
I think it's going to be a long night for this one, Martin. That's for sure. We've had a lot of rain.
I'm so wet.
Oh, for God's sake.
Oh, it's raining.
Yeah, what the hell was that? Some kind of English horse racing track or something like that?
Yeah, so there's this guy. He works for Sky Sports, Mick Fitzgerald. He's trying to do his, hey, I'm out here. We're hoping to get these races in, but the track's so wet, and there's a bunch of people, walking around with umbrellas. It's raining a little bit.
Yeah.
And then a woman comes up behind him, and she's making sensual faces.
She was sexy.
Yeah, she was. She had a very cute dress on. So she's walking, behind the guy, keeps coming back to the camera, and then eventually she says, I'm so wet.
For God's sake.
And then the anchor's like, all right, let's wrap this up.
They were having a good time.
They sure were.
The anchor back at the studio was giggling.
They were laughing at first.
And then she has to, talk about I'm so, and then the joke is over and they had to get the hell out of there. She was cute, though. Twins got pumped in Detroit last night. 6-0. It's a friggin' shame, too, because Sonny Gray keeps going out there and having, decent starts over and over and over again, and the boys don't hit. They had a decent excuse last night. This Eduardo isn't a name. Eduardo Rodriguez, the starter for Detroit, is terrific. He really is. And he went 7 innings, and the Twins just couldn't find an answer for that dude. You know what I like about that Eduardo Rodriguez? I read this about him, Josh.
What's that?
The Dodgers said, hey, Tigers, we want to trade for your stud left-hander. We want to make a trade. He can come over here to the Dodgers. And Rodriguez said, no.
Really?
Yeah.
Said, no, thank you.
Yeah, he don't want to just, you know how so many guys just, Dodgers, Yankees? Yeah, I'll be there by the end of the day. This guy said, no. I want to stay. What the hell's the matter with him? He said, I want to stay in Michigan. They'll go again tonight, 5:40. On Bally Sports North. It's a 4-game series. One more tonight and then another day game tomorrow. Hopefully they can get back. The winning streak now is over. We'll talk to Brad Ryder and Randy Shaver coming up in a half hour. We got so much more to cover, but first we got to get to Josh's news report.
They want to glorify the fact that they're criminals. It's dumb. These guys are dumb. They deserve to be tossed under the jail just for being dumb.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Hey, Minnesota. CJ Ham here. Huddle up for a second. You need someone to go the extra yard when your furnace or AC is out? Give the ball to the certified pros at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. They've been at it for 90 years. Ready? Break.
It's savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning State Fair specials. Deals on deals on deals. Savings from $30 on a tune-up all the way up to $950 on a new cooling system. Visit standardheating.com/offers for details on all their State Fair deals. Standard Heating, providing the comfort you deserve since 1930.
Are you currently enjoying the show on the Stitcher app? Then you need to know Stitcher is going away on August 29th. Yep. Going away, as in kaput, gone, dead. Rest in peace, Stitcher, and thanks for 15 years of service to the podcast community. So switch to another podcast app and follow this show there. Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen.
Half-assed morning show. 93X.
The vehicle came down that road. It was airborne. They just flew to the house.
Like a scene straight out of an action movie, authorities say a motorist intentionally launched his car through the air and into a Pennsylvania home, leaving the vehicle dangling dramatically from the second story. 20-year-old Evan Miller drove his Toyota Corolla into a home Sunday afternoon on purpose, police say. Miller allegedly first crashed into a ditch before launching his vehicle through the air and into the side of the house. Photos from inside the residence reveal the side of the car and the outside world where there was once a plaid wallpapered room. A gaping hole was left in the top corner of the house where it took about 2 hours for the car to be removed.
Are you trying to kill somebody?
I don't know what his deal was.
Or just...
He was upset. I wish I had more details as to why it was on purpose.
Watched a hell of a lot of... watched isn't the term. Played a hell of a lot of Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, I was a fan of Dukes of Hazzard.
Just wanted to try it.
Those Duke boys are in trouble now.
Oh, man.
Pennsylvania State Police said the crash was an intentional act and charges are pending at this time. Aside from the driver, no one else was injured in that crash. Car got worked pretty good, as did the house, though.
It's amazing how it's just dangling there. It just doesn't look real.
A motorcyclist walked away from a nasty spill on 35W in Minneapolis yesterday morning. The crash, caught on Minnesota Department of Transportation traffic cameras, occurred around 9:30 a.m. in the southbound lanes near Lake Street. According to the State Patrol, the driver had swerved to avoid hitting other vehicles, but lost control and crashed. MnDOT traffic cam video showed the moment the motorcyclist slammed onto the roadway and rolled several yards as traffic in 2 lanes luckily came to a stop behind him. The motorcycle seen flying down the highway before it came to a rest along the median. The rider got up seemingly unscathed, but definitely a bit dazed and confused, which became obvious when the rider seemingly walked right into one of the only lanes of traffic where cars were still moving.
Oh, he didn't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah, it looked like he was just trying to get to his bike and wasn't really thinking. He was just out of it. Miraculously, the State Patrol said the person wasn't injured in the accident, though his bike does have significant damage. Though this crash only ended with damage to the motorcycle, the Minnesota Department of Public Safety said the period between Memorial Day and Labor Day marks the 100 deadliest days for traffic fatalities on Minnesota roads. Then in Duluth, police say 2 people were inside a car when it drove into Lake Superior Monday night.
Oh, heck no.
Police say the driver thought the car was in reverse and hit the gas. It's like out of a comedy. Luckily, everybody's fine. The car's a little waterlogged, as you can imagine.
Yesterday,
a couple of fish in there, maybe.
Parked in the parking lot. Thankfully, I still had it in park, but I just went to hit my gas without even thinking, and I revved the engine up, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, Ashley, you're such a ditz."
You're and a terrible
that's a brand
driver.
new car.
I know. I could have went through. I was like, "All right, let's think more."
And you don't even own that car.
No.
Can you imagine explaining that to someone? How long have you had that thing? A week?
A week.
So you already locked the keys in it, and then you also almost just destroyed it in the parking lot.
That's a really good idea.
This is going great.
Nice work giving her a car endorsement. Real smart. A ticked-off woman was filmed hurling a traffic cone at a student driver in an expletive-laden road rage incident in Western Australia. Footage of the interaction begins with the woman marching down a sidewalk while screaming at the car. She continues to scream, "F you!" as she storms down the road in front of standstill traffic before pretending to toss her purse in the direction of the vehicle. It was quite the fake-out. She then reaches for an orange traffic cone placed under a street sign and chucks it. "Effing slut, move on up," she screams.
Oh!
Before storming back to a flashy black BMW idling behind her. The camera pans behind them to show the SUV she came from, still honking the horn. At one point, the male driver holds the horn down for 9 straight seconds as the person calmly filming the ordeal is urged to mark down the license plate. The woman eventually sits down and puts her seatbelt on, but doesn't stop screaming with her head out of the passenger side window. She keeps screaming as the driver merges to the right lane to flee the scene, but not without getting in on the action himself. He gave 2 more honks of the horn and then flipped a middle finger at the learner driver ahead of them. A number of people slammed the SUV's owner, saying it was disgusting behavior. writing, "We were all learners at one stage. Absolutely disgusting. I'm sick of this S. Control your anger and grow up," another person wrote.
Word.
And others were baffled as to why the enraged driver didn't just change lanes. I was wondering that myself.
True.
He could have just moved right over, but decided to lay into this person instead. That video's on 93x.com. The audio's garbage, otherwise I would have played it for you. It's just all beeps for the most part. 2 bikini-clad women are wanted after they allegedly spat and bit passengers on a spat at, I should say, and bit passengers on a bus in a popular Maryland beach destination. The scantily clad suspects were seen in photos Saturday on public transportation in Ocean City. 4 victims were spit upon by a female in a white bathing suit. 1 victim was bit by a female in a green bathing suit, police said. Another image shows the irate woman in the white bikini holding up her cell phone as she's being held back by a woman in a gray bathing suit. Another image shows a woman in a green bikini top holding a bottle with her phone tucked inside her back, the black bathing suit bottom with sheer leg covering.
What the hell?
Police say it's one of the sexiest fights of all time. Police say it's unclear which of the 2 women wearing green bit a passenger, and they're asking for the public's help with an identification.
Women in bikinis spitting and biting.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible. That sounds
like
absolute.
Where's it?
Yeah, sounds like the plot of some of those internet videos you guys like to watch.
Where can I see this video? Where can I see this video? It's twice I've asked you now.
Yeah, well, I didn't get a chance to answer the first time. You can see it on the internet. I forgot if I sent that to you. I didn't send that to you?
No.
Net.
Well, rats. I got the story off the New York Post.
I mean, you went ahead and called it one of the sexiest fights of all time. I got to get a look at this.
Yeah, you should take a look.
I gotta.
I might have exaggerated a little bit on that, but it's an interesting video, is how I should have phrased it.
Well, fair enough.
You and I have, we took on a couple people in the sexiest fight of all time. Pretty much just because you and I were there. I'd say we won in the looks department. Got our ass kicked otherwise. An Indiana mom of 2 collapsed and died after drinking too much in a short period of time.
Oh, no.
Too much water.
Oh, I hear about this.
35-year-old Ashley Summers was with her husband and 2 daughters over July 4th weekend when she was hospitalized with brain swelling. Her family said she drank 4 bottles of water in just 20 minutes.
2 liters of water per day on average per person, and that's throughout the day. You also don't want to consume more than 1 liter per hour.
If she would have spaced out her water consumption, she probably would be alive today.
Summers had said she was feeling dehydrated, lightheaded, and had a headache. Nothing that she felt she couldn't drink enough water about. The mom of 2 passed out in a garage, though, and was rushed to a hospital. She never regained consciousness, sadly, and doctors said she died of water toxicity. The Mayo Clinic said the daily fluid intake for women should be about 92 ounces, with 20% of daily fluids coming from foods. They advised drinking water in moderation and to consider drinking sports drinks, which contain electrolytes, during endurance activities.
That's a bizarre way to go, man.
Yeah, who would have thought something like that? In other Mayo Clinic news, TMZ reports NBA star LeBron James and his son Bronny arrived there over the weekend seeking further answers as to why the 18-year-old suffered cardiac arrest back on July 24th. Another celebrity was spotted in Minnesota this week, this time in Duluth.
Here we go.
3-time Oscar-winning director of Avatar and Titanic, James Cameron, spotted at Boat Club Restaurant Sunday.
I wouldn't know him if we were 69ing.
You wouldn't?
No.
You never ask questions? Who am I 69ing?
James Cameron, the director of the Titanic.
And Terminator 2, right? And Terminator?
You guys could pick him out of a crowd if you were in Duluth or anywhere else for that matter?
Oh, yeah, he's one of the most famous directors.
Really?
For sure, yeah.
I mean, I'd recognize LeBron.
I would hope so. I mean, nobody can blame you for not recognizing a director. He's a pretty famous one, though.
Well, that's nice. What's he doing in Duluth? Is he
was visiting his friend Jessica Lange, a native to Cloquet, I believe. And he was checking out possible movie locations.
Well, you know how we all come uncorked when a movie is filmed in Minnesota.
It's fun.
And we talk about it for decades afterwards. I drove by a van that was delivering props to name a movie, Purple Rain.
Just last week, Lady Gaga dined in Minneapolis, and Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis were seen at a Caribou drive-thru in Fergus Falls.
Man, LA's got nothing on us.
I was at that Caribou the next day. We actually just coincidentally stopped at. I'm like, oh, this is the one that Ashton was in. I thought about just running in there and like out of breath. Is Ashton still here?
Did they mention
so
it?
great.
I mean, nobody said, hey,
Nah.
you know who was here yesterday?
And I figured they were probably just getting sick of asking about it every customer that walked in the door. So
Probably.
I didn't bring it up.
I will have whatever Mila had.
Yeah. And any of the trash she may have discarded.
The former leader of a St. Petersburg church may have skipped over the thou shalt not steal commandment as authorities arrested him for operating a multi-million-dollar theft ring, which spanned several Florida counties.
That's not right.
No. This guy was making money. Authorities say Robert Dell, a former pastor now of the Rock Church Suite, an operator of a halfway house for people recovering from drug addiction, is accused of working with 4 accomplices to shoplift Milwaukee, DeWalt, and other branded products from Home Depot stores, and then selling those stolen items through an eBay store called Anointed Liquidator. Authorities arrested Dell and the 4 accused associates for stealing merchandise worth more than $1.4 million. According to police, Dell's co-conspirators stole the majority of the merchandise and, on average, victimized stores 5 to 6 times a day. The suspected co-conspirators then delivered the merchandise to Dell's house to be sold on eBay. Investigators say he used his position as founder of a halfway house to manipulate and threaten vulnerable people to take part in the scheme. Home Depot suspects he operated a scheme for more than 10 years, resulting in the loss of more than $5 million. The mayor of Tampa found a big catch of another sort while fishing off the coast of the Florida Keys. 70 pounds of cocaine floating in the Atlantic Ocean. Mayor Jane Castor made the discovery while on a fishing trip with her family.
We were on our way back in, and my younger brother saw some debris floating in the water. The closer we got, I realized that it was a bale of cocaine.
With the help from her family, Castor, a longtime Tampa police officer and the city's first female chief, lifted the package about the size of a microwave into her boat. A rip in the package showed it was more tightly packed in bricks of cocaine.
From the time it had been floating in the water, some of the protective plastic had split. From my years in narcotics, I could see that they were tightly wrapped kilos of cocaine.
I've never had one day in narcotics, but I bet I could tell that's what it was. Cocaine floating off the waters of Florida is not a new occurrence. Last month, a Good Samaritan found a floating brick of coke while boating near the Florida Keys. In May, a large bundle of cocaine weighing 41 pounds was discovered floating in Florida waters. In May 2021, more than 30 kilos of cocaine with a street value topping $1 million was seized after washing ashore at Cape Canaveral Space Station. In Texas, U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers seized more than $4 million worth of meth concealed inside vegetables. Then in New York, a 22-year-old man from Toronto was arrested at Niagara Falls after U.S. officials said he was smuggling marijuana to the U.S. disguised as waffles.
Man, marijuana, cocaine, meth. They got everything you need, Cubby.
Yeah.
It's a party.
Ketamine as well. I don't necessarily know exactly
what do you do with that?
What that would do to a person, but if you're interested, 110 pounds, bound for Georgia. A Maryland man is facing charges after investigators say he stole destructive devices from his employer and brought them home. 48-year-old Stephen Thompson was taken into custody last Monday after his estranged wife reported she found suspicious items in their basement. Bomb technicians then located the devices, which were determined to be blasting caps. The potential consequences of their illicit use can be catastrophic, leading to severe injuries, loss of life, and extensive property damage, the fire marshal said. Investigators concluded Thompson stole the blasting caps from his employer, Rust-Oleum, which uses them in their fire suppression systems.
Rust-Oleum. I haven't heard that in a long time.
Oh, I used to use the heck out of that. I had a iron railing at my last house, and I would have to hit that from time to time. I think I got pretty high a few times by, not doing it correctly, breathing those fumes for a long time. Coming to Apple TV Plus today, the series premiere of a new animated series called Strange Planet. Based on the popular webcomic, Strange Planet takes a look at a distant world where blue beings explore the absurdity of everyday human traditions. 93X has a chance for you to see Atreyu with Iron Maiden in Vancouver this fall. Listen for the national keyword to text during the 9-1 and 4 o'clock blitzes all week for a shot to win a trip for 2, tickets to the show, and an autographed drumhead from Atreyu. For the contest rules, there's some boring reading at 93x.com.
I'll be damned. A concert featuring Iron Maiden and Atreyu.
Yeah, I'd like to see Atreyu live. And, of course, Iron Maiden, I want to see them live again. Best show I've ever been to, seeing Iron Maiden.
Strangely enough, I closed out my 1,000-point beer league hockey career with a hockey stick that was somehow sponsored by Atreyu.
Oh, really?
I've never seen that since or before. God help us, it was, maybe someone can look this up. It was one of those fancy schmancy composite sticks. I'd never really used many of those, but I got my hands on one, and somehow they were featured on the stick.
Was that from the station? Did you grab it from here?
No, I think I got it at a hockey convention.
Really?
You know, it doesn't matter. There was some big hockey. Maybe someone out there who plays and uses these fancy hockey sticks, the composite ones. Knows what
it
I'm
was
talking.
The band?
Yeah.
Like, weird.
Yeah.
I wonder what
Are they Canadian or something? Or is Atreyu Canadian?
I got to say, I don't know for sure.
Do they have like a brother-in-law who plays for the Montreal Canadiens or something?
It looks like it was on an Easton stick.
That's it, Easton. It was a black and red stick, that much I can tell you. Did you find it on the internet?
They're from California.
Somehow it was sponsored by Atreyu, the band. I never really got, obviously, I never got the whole story on the connection.
An Ellipse Stealth S17.
Word.
Is there a story behind it?
Just looks like they put their name on the stick.
You can do that? Just walk in and put your name on a stick?
I'm sorry I blew up.
Oh, it's interesting. Yeah, I wonder what the story is behind that. Now I can't sleep. Pennywise the Clown from the It remake. Bill Skarsgård, 33.
The It remake, the one from a number of years, everyone wet their pants?
Yeah, those last 2 movies.
It sucked.
Dana's not allowed within 1,000 yards of this talented beauty. Anna Kendrick, 38 today. And gentlemen, start your nerd boners for Gillian Anderson, Special Agent Dana Scully on The X-Files. She is 55. Happy 33rd to Nooner or Sooner Jesus. Happy 40th to Skinny Dips and Bong Rips Jesus. Happy first birthday to Sadie Joe from Dad, Clam Jesus. And that's 93X News.
Care 11's Randy Shaver.
This guy is beautiful.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Straight away center. Julio gauging, looking, jumping, and he did not get it.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he did. He did get it. Oh, man, you want to talk about psych. Tatis went into his home run trot routine. Oh, brother.
And now he has one of the slowest walks back to the dugout.
Thank you.
Well, let's say word or even word life to Randy Shaver and Brad Effin Ryder. What's going on?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Dirty bastards, you? What's the deal?
Really? No, we just keep showing up.
Did you hear that sports gambling is back at St. Croix Casino or Turtle Lake, Randy Shaver? You got any bets you want to make?
I didn't know sports gambling had left.
Well, wasn't there equipment down for a while? I heard.
Oh, I don't know. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to spread rumors, but I thought that's what the case was.
We don't
It happens.
I'm just wondering
right, guys? It happens.
It happens.
Sometimes doesn't work.
Especially here.
Equipment goes to hell now and again. I was just wondering if you had any bets in mind, Randy, that's all.
Not today, but I can think of
Got the football season coming up. I know a lot of you go wild for that friggin' stupid NFL. You got that coming up. You got what else is happening?
I haven't really looked at week 1 matchups yet to think about.
Baseball playoffs are on the horizon. You're not thinking of making a World Series bet or a long shot Super Bowl bet or anything?
Not really. I guess I really haven't thought about that.
Randy and I are dialed into a fantasy football draft already.
Oh,
that's right.
What are you talking about?
Middle of a guillotine draft right now.
I don't know.
I haven't heard that term.
I thought it was guillotine.
Guillotine. Yeah, guillotine.
What is a guillotine tournament?
Yeah, will this bore us to death or what?
Yeah, it will probably.
Okay.
Oh, really?
So
not Randy or I.
Well, but you're in a league together. That's interesting.
We are.
Yeah.
We have been. Was it 2 years?
Couple years. Yeah. I'll even blow your horn a little bit. You won it last year. I finished 3rd out of 18. so we both did pretty well.
Oh, Randy was the winner.
Yeah, blow my horn there, Brad. Don't be afraid, Brad, to blow my horn.
Isn't it something, Brad? Doesn't it seem, Brad, like sometimes you just can't say anything on this friggin' program?
No,
And
I know
then you
what
get
I'm saying.
Well, that's interesting that you're in a league together. What's the punishment if you finish last?
I don't think this league has a punishment for finishing last, other than he takes your money right away.
Yeah, here's the punishment. It's a guillotine league, so if you are the worst team of the week, you're done. Your season's over.
Oh, that's what it means to be a guillotine league.
And then all your players become available to the
free agents
teams that
for
are
other
still
teams.
alive.
Oh, man.
I've never heard of that gimmick.
It's a really fun format.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, so I mean, you can be done after the first week.
It sucks. I would prefer that, actually.
Wait, so does it go through like another kind of draft process when someone is eliminated?
What happens is when you are eliminated, all of your players become free agents.
Okay.
And if you have money, other teams that are still alive in that league can pick those guys up.
You get mythical money to spend, not real money, mythical money to bid on other players every week.
Well, since you guys haven't come up with a last place punishment yet, it's kind of. I'm glad you brought all this up. Normally, I dislike conversation about fantasy football because it's overrun by dorks who take it too seriously. But I'm glad you brought it up this time because I did recently just read an article about some of the more infamous fantasy football punishments.
Sure.
That the internet has seen over the years. Do you remember some of these? Consider these. I don't think any of these leagues would be mad if you borrowed their idea from a number of years ago. Tell me what you think. Picture all the guys and gals in your league, Brad and Randy. And how about this? The loser has to compete in an amateur bodybuilding contest.
Fun.
That's pretty good.
Did you see pictures of that one, Josh?
Yes.
And now, luckily, the guy that finished last, he wasn't in terrible shape. At least my memory is he wasn't in terrible. Now, he looked out of place compared
to those guys, definitely.
Right, but he didn't look like a complete fiasco.
Oh, that'd be beautiful if I had to get up there.
I think they're like, do we get him the pink or purple weights?
They would wonder, why is the child taking his shirt off?
Hey, kid, the U12 division's over that way.
Now, if you remember from just recently, the dude who went to Yankee Stadium dressed head to toe in Jose Altuve gear, Houston Astros
that
gear,
was a good one.
that apparently was a fantasy sports last place punishment. The bodybuilding deal, that's brilliant.
I love that one.
I mean, there you are, posing, the whole thing, flexing your calves like Bubba Ray Dudley used to do in TNA wrestling. He'd flex his calf. All right.
I don't remember if it's in that article, but there was one where somebody had to go back to school and get a certificate.
Oh, God.
Did anybody read of that? I mean,
No,
I wouldn't mind.
no.
You wouldn't go?
Absolutely not.
I think I'd rather go to jail. The IHOP pancake marathon gimmick.
That was a fun one.
Yep, I always like those.
I forgot. Was that an hour or something like that?
Yeah, something like folks don't remember. Last place finisher in a fantasy football league had to go over to one of those IHOPs and sit there for 24 hours. However, each pancake that he consumed knocked an hour off of the time.
That's what it was, right.
So I think I remember the dude maybe blew through 9 or 10 or 11 pancakes and then just couldn't do it anymore.
Yep.
And so
I bet I do pretty well in that.
Yeah, you can eat.
I can eat.
I wouldn't do well at all. Some of these are kind of dumb. Run a 5K dressed as Forrest Gump. There's the old school, just wear the sandwich board sign. And you have to hang out on the sidewalk with some kind of ridiculous statement on it. You could go simple, I suck at fantasy football, but you could make it much worse than that. Running a beer mile.
Oh, what is
You
that?
could do that, Ashley.
Like every lap, you have to grab a beer?
Every lap, you have to slam a damn beer.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
A lot of folks puke their guts out.
Yeah, definitely sounds like a way to throw up.
So consider maybe some of that stuff. It's still
Brad, consider that.
Okay, sure.
Well, who's the commissioner of the league?
Paul Charchian.
Call Paul and ask him if he's got anything in mind. And I would run that amateur bodybuilding contest his way.
It's too bad you guys don't have someone who's knowledgeable about fantasy football running that thing.
You always keep an eye on who he picks, and you're like, oh, well, okay, maybe I should have picked him.
Well, I've heard you say the name before. Who is Paul
He's
Charchi?
like the god of it. Did he start it, or he was?
No, he didn't start it.
He started this league, though.
Yeah, he is real. I call him an evil genius. He's so smart about this business. He's had multiple companies. He's just really good at it, and he's
like the man.
He's a great guy. He's just a
he's a fabulous guy. He last year, I think it was me, Randy, him, and two other guys were like in the final 5, and I saw his name. I'm like, oh boy! But then I think you and I ended up in the final 3 somehow.
A couple of listeners are reminding us via text of some of the other great fantasy football punishments over the years. The league that sent a dude to Fargo.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't they? I'm trying to remember.
They rolled out the red carpet for him in Fargo.
In the end, it worked out for the guy because
the mayor showed up. It was a big deal.
There was all kinds of press on it. I mean,
with social media, there's no secrets anymore, right? So Fargo heard about this. The mayor, like Josh was saying, they heard about this, and when the guy got off the airplane, they bought him dinner and got him drunk, got him laid.
What? Drunk.
But it wasn't the deal like he didn't know where he was being sent. He just knew his punishment was that he was going on an airplane ride somewhere.
That's right.
And he ended up in Fargo.
Medical Device Shipping Jesus has an idea for your league, Randy and Brad. If Brad loses, you got to tell us the song.
Oh.
Your song from back in the day between you and the girl who dumped you in the rain at the University of Minnesota.
Right.
If Randy loses, he needs to go to the state fair every day.
No.
Well, he's got to go to the state fair every day anyway.
Not next year.
Oh, next year. Gotcha.
Or maybe not next. I guess I can't say that for sure. But
this is interesting. Captain 79 Jesus, I think I'm playing this out correctly because I think there's some errors here in his text message. In our league, the last place guy had to take a picture of the first place guy while the first place guy took a dump.
Oh,
no. Is that what that is? Is that what you're saying there, Captain?
This person says 2 buddies of mine shared a team and lost in our league. Had to get mullet extensions and go speed dating.
Oh.
Very creative.
Yeah, take the ACT test again. I never took any of those things. Did you guys take those things?
Yeah,
I had to.
No, we never did. I never did.
Well, maybe you weren't planning on going to college.
Oh, hell no.
I know you went to college, but just didn't attend college.
Right. I lived at a college for a while. I never took a class. Take the ACT again as a grown person. Would that be horrible? You guys tell me.
It's like a 4-hour test. It's kind of a pain in the ass.
You don't have to try, though.
Yeah, that's a
good point.
point.
You can just sit there and twiddle your thumbs.
Well, I think they do require you to make an effort. I think that...
I totally overachieved on my ACT.
Okay, fair enough. Brad, what does that mean?
Well, I was like a B student in high school, B and C student, and I ended up getting a 27 on my ACT somehow.
Nice. I got a 27 too.
I have no idea what that means. What does that mean?
I did pretty good.
Decent.
I think it's out of 36.
Yeah.
Sit down and take the ACT, huh?
I would like to take one of those tests again just to see, like, if I still got it. But I feel like I would just be wildly disappointed.
And at a 0.09.
Well, how about this,
Maybe I do
Ashley?
better.
You take the ACT. With every question you answer, you have to slam a beer.
Oh,
jeez.
God.
You mix that with the beer mile. And
Oh, geez, Jesus has another idea for your league, Randy and Brad. If Brad loses, he has to tell us the song. If Randy loses, he has to make Brad tell us the song by any means necessary.
This can't be friggin' right. Stoner Sparky Jesus. I've heard of a fantasy punishment where the loser has to join the army.
Okay.
Good Lord.
That's a little over the top.
Little extra.
And if you're on the front lines, is that the guy you want standing next to you?
No.
I'm trusting my life to this guy who's here because he was forced to be by his fantasy football.
You know, if you had an in with somebody high enough up in the Army, they could make you go through some basic training, though. as a guest, maybe. I don't know.
I told you about
I'd love to know if any of us could make it through basic training.
Heck, no, I can't do a push-up.
What, at our age now?
Yeah, I'm guessing. Or how if we'd even be borderline.
Oh,
qualified.
I can't even run. I mean, I can't run from one end of this studio to the other. No, I'd have absolutely no chance. Remember, I told you about a pal of mine who joined, this is a long time ago. I believe it was the Army Reserve. And it was shocking to all of us when he dumped the news on us. I mean, because this guy can't handle basic everyday tasks. Really, trust me. I mean, it was just the last dude that you'd ever think. But he did. And it's like I said, it's a long time ago. I think he made it a certain distance in the process, and then he quit. Okay. But when he was in the process of joining or whatever happens, we were kind of drinking beer one night, and the topic came up. Can you believe Donnie joined the Army Reserve? And one of the dudes at the table even talked to Donnie and said, now, you realize that this is no joke. You know, if the S really hits the fan, you realize that the Army Reserve, this and that. And the guy said, yeah. Donnie said, yeah, I know. So we're having a conversation about it, and we were all talking about, can you believe Donnie? And one dude at the table says, I got 2 words for you if this actually plays out, and he is a member of the Army Reserve, and something happens, something terrible happens, I got 2 words for you. Friendly fire. Luckily, it never came to that. Well, the Twins had some trouble in Detroit last night, got shut out.
Eduardo Rodriguez is a really good pitcher.
Yes, he is.
So it's not surprising that they struggled with the bats against him. You know, it's too bad because, once again, Sonny Gray pitches very well and no offense. I mean, I think I read this morning this is like the 8th time in the last 15 starts where he's had like 2 runs or less of support. So he's just been a tough luck pitcher for the Twins.
Yeah, he has.
During the course of this year. He only has 5 victories. Here we are almost mid-August and only 5 wins. But
he should have 9 or 10.
He should. It's not really been his fault. It's just been the lack of offense. But give Rodriguez credit. I mean, he's a really good pitcher. Detroit was able to string together some runs. Cabrera gets a couple of hits. I saw where he reached 3,142 hits last night, so he passed Tony Gwynn.
That effing blew my mind last night when I found out that he...
Yeah, he's in the top 20 now for career hits.
Passed Tony Gwynn. That's something.
Well, he's played 21 years.
Well, yeah.
And he's had a great career, so I guess it shouldn't be super surprising.
I was surprised. I had forgotten how long the man has played, 20-some years. He passed Tony Gwynn and tied Robin Yount. Those are some great names, Randy Shaver. Brad Ryder.
He will be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh, there's no question.
When it's his time.
They're going to go again tonight at 5:40, Bailey Ober against Alex Faedo. Is that the son of Lenny Faedo?
I don't think so.
Okay. Some more text coming in on fantasy sports punishments for the last place finisher. What do you think of this one? Well, the loser of my old league, an old league I used to be in, a listener says the loser had to wear coconut cups and a long grass skirt and serve all the drinks at the next year's draft.
That's good.
Wapple, you could pull that look off.
At least that's within the group that punished him. So it's not like he's out in public.
Out in public, right.
Dana, you know what? You could pull that off too, I bet.
I think I look good.
What can I get you, big boy?
How about a dance? Oh, wait, no. That wasn't part of it. Sorry.
Other job. Thinking about my other job.
Dance! Anybody want to dance? South Park. The audio Josh played for you in our intro. This was a cute trick. Julio Rodriguez of the Seattle Mariners played on everyone at their home game last night. He pretended he didn't catch the ball at the fence when he did, in fact, rob Fernando Tatis Jr. of a home run.
Straight away center. Julio gauging, looking, jumping, and he did not get it.
Oh, he did? Yeah, he did.
He did get it. Oh, man, you want to talk about psych. Tatis went into his home run trot routine. Oh, brother.
And now he has one of the slowest walks back to the dugout.
Thank you.
I love the look on his face when he revealed he actually caught it.
Mm-hmm. Cute trick, but man, that's a little tough on your pitcher, don't you think?
Yeah, they showed his face, and he looked pretty bummed out.
The pitcher for the Mariners thinking, son of a bitch, I gave up I didn't give up a... He's a good actor, that Rodriguez.
Yeah, he had to look like,
Tatis.
nah, I got it.
Gotcha, guys.
That's
Man,
pretty good.
Tatis got more than halfway through his home run trot. He thought he was a big shot.
Yeah. That's pretty nonchalant to make a catch like that. That tells you just how great athletically Rodriguez is. He's looked like an everyday, no big deal catch. I'm sure that wasn't that easy. But.
I'm seeing a lot more and more of that bit lately. You pretend like, I didn't make the play. Yes, I did. I'm seeing it's becoming kind of a trendy thing in baseball. Yeah. We talked quite a bit yesterday with Dick Bramer about this announcer from the Baltimore Orioles, Kevin Brown. A free Kevin Brown chant busted out at last night's Orioles home game.
Made it look easy. Good athletes can do that, Beaver.
I'm a little surprised that Baltimore management hasn't relented and put him back on the air with all the criticism and that kind of stuff that they're getting.
Well, I do have a date where he's supposed to return, Randy Shaver.
Okay.
And that would be, what day is it today?
It's
Wednesday?
this Friday.
That'll be Friday night. They made a statement, the Orioles? They must be so embarrassed.
They have to be.
They must be. Whatever clown ass is running that operation maybe doesn't feel bad about it, but...
They have taken a beating, though.
And like Dick said yesterday, it's a real shame because the team is having this terrific year.
Right.
And then to have this,
taking away from it. Yeah.
The boss man who made the decision, I bet he'll never apologize because that's how boss men operate. They'll never admit that they were wrong. They'll never, right? Douchebags act that way. But I bet everyone else on down in the organization is so embarrassed by this.
Well, here's the thing, though. If you're going to suspend a guy for saying something that you felt was negative towards your club, that should have been explained as exactly what it is he said that, deserved the punishment. I haven't seen it. Maybe you guys have. I have not seen what the Orioles the management people felt he said that was so negative to take him off the air. I just don't know what that would be.
Right. There was nothing there, Randy.
I know there's not, but what I'm saying is they've not even come out and explained why they did it.
Well,
from what I've seen, I have not seen.
There's been a pattern, from what I understand, where they've been reprimanding their announcers for saying the slightest negative thing about the Orioles. That's what I read. This was the first time they smooth said you're not going to be on the air for a while. But in the past, they've reprimanded color commentators and announcers for bringing up anything negative. It's this wacky-ass non-reality.
Yeah, that's the danger. We talked about this the other day, that when clubs own the announcing teams, they are the ones that pay them. They're the ones that own the Bally Sports North or whatever it might be.
Right.
That's the problem you can run into is the message. They try to control the message, and really good analysts and broadcasters, as we all know, are ones who are honest. They're experienced. They know what they're doing, and they will question things that happen during the course of a season. So.
Dana, the ones who are really good are the ones who don't necessarily go too far in questioning, but they don't go too far in heaping praise either.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. When you worked for Pohlad-owned radio stations, Dana, did they, like a boss or somebody, ever say, hey, be careful, don't criticize the Twins too much?
No, nothing ever from the Twins, but there were times where I've had team employees reach out when I worked in sports writing and sports radio and said, hey, why are you always so negative with the team? Why can't you be more positive? Well, your team sucks. Sorry, that's just kind of how it is.
But nothing from management?
No,
or
nothing from like the
program
actual
director
owners
never
of the
said,
team. No, it was more like media relations guys. Like, you're always so negative about the team. Why can't you be positive? Why can't you focus on this?
Gotcha. Should we play what he said, what Kevin said,
Sure.
for anybody who hasn't heard it?
Why not?
It's been a minute. The Orioles split a 2-gamer with the Rays in June. They had lost their last 15 series here at Tropicana Field. You have to go back to when our now colleague Brad Brock picked up the win in the series finale June 25th, 2017, the last time the Orioles won a series here at St. Pete.
He was reading from the game notes.
I don't get it.
Like I said before, that's a producer that put that segment together.
Right.
I'm sure Kevin Brown probably contributed to that, but it was a collaborative effort. It wasn't just him speaking off the cuff. This was a scripted segment, and I didn't hear that a producer got suspended or
maybe
whatever,
maybe that wasn't made public or something like that. But yeah,
they've really painted themselves into a corner here now, because if they did put him back on the air early before suspension's over, that's going to draw attention. And this whole week they're going to get attention from it if they don't. And then on Friday when he comes back, they're going to get attention from it when he comes back. So
it's this. There was this overall vibe from the boss man down with the Baltimore Orioles, where any hint of negativity was looked at sideways. I read that in the past, Orioles broadcasters have been reprimanded just for mentioning players who no longer play for the Orioles.
Oh my God!
So if you said, "Hey, 3 years ago when Jackie Jugstain hit a grand slam again," and then the boss would say, "Hey, Jackie Jugstain doesn't play here anymore. Don't mention him." I mean, it's just bizarre.
That is weird.
But, we know a little bit about this, don't we, Josh?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, thankfully, these days have come and gone. But there was a time when we first worked in radio, when we first started working in radio, if you mentioned another radio station in town, if you mentioned another radio personality, if you are...
Do you remember what I got in trouble for doing when I used to do the weather?
Because you said it was
I said it was 94.
As opposed to 93 degrees.
Yeah.
There used to be these wacky ass effing ways to look at things.
As if listeners are robots going, he said 94. Must listen to KS 95.
Absolutely. We used to deal with this kind of stuff. Like, look, we're not in a bubble. We're not the only people that exist in this world. We can mention this other radio station.
And people like other radio stations.
And nothing negative ever came about it, where we had these douchebag people in control here years ago who thought you were just disrespecting everyone in the building by acknowledging that there's someone else in town that has a radio station. You friggin' unrealistic idiots.
Yeah, can you imagine if somebody came up to us and was like, "Hey, I was tuning into K-Fan yesterday, and they did this," and we're like, "How the hell did you hear about K-Fan?"
Yeah.
Who told you about
What's
K-Fan?
a K-Fan? I had a boss once, we were talking, there's some hot streaming show at the time, I think on Netflix or something, we were talking about how good it was and how you need to binge watch it. And he was like, "Hey, encouraging people to binge watch shows, that could get them to tune out right then and there and start watching the TV show."
Right.
So we're not supposed to talk about Netflix now?
It's just
by acknowledging that Netflix exists and that's a way they could be spending their time rather than listening to the radio?
And what pissed me off more than anything is these friggin' idiots, they carried themselves as if they were just the answer to everything. And if you went the other way on them, I mean, you were nothing to them. They were so... We even had... This was maybe the... this is right up there with one of the dumbest things I've ever heard while working in radio. We had a dude here years ago who was supposedly running things, and he was talking to the whole staff about the music that we play. How it has changed. It's not just full-on acid rock, headbanging. There's some rap elements to our music now. There's some lighter rock element. Right, he's talking about how music has changed, and sometimes we get criticized for that. Listeners text in or email in, "This song sucks, that song sucks." And he says to all of us at a staff meeting, "Hey, this is the bottom line, everybody. We, here at the radio station, we determine what rocks, not our listeners. We determine what rocks." And I remember Josh and I looking at each other as if to say, this guy's going to last about a half hour. I mean, that's that arrogant effing mindset that you get when you have a little bit of power.
Yeah, it would just show how much things have changed. I can't remember we were talking about a podcast one time, and this boss you were talking about got all pissed off. Like, why would you talk about a podcast? People might listen to that instead of us. What kind of commercials do we run quite often around here now, Wapple?
All podcasts.
For podcasts.
Yep.
Things have changed.
I mean, Randy's an old Kiss fan. I remember hearing, and Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons have laughed at themselves for having this mindset at one point or another, now that they're 79 years old. But Randy probably some of you remember the movie Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park.
I've seen parts of it.
It was a fiasco. I mean, I like it because I'm a lifelong Kiss fan. I like just how awful it is. You know, it's like one of those niche-y movies that's just awful, but you can't get enough of it for that very reason. So
the part I saw was at a park. I think they were sitting on a park bench or something, and it was a really silly scene.
Oh, they fight robots, and Gene Simmons can blow fire, and Paul Stanley has a laser that comes out of his eye and wipes out its enemies, and Ace Frehley can fly, and Peter Criss can command animals to attack. It's horrible, horrible. So it was an absolute fiasco. They were at the height of their fame in 1978 when they released this garbage movie. And it just ruined them for a while. And Paul and Gene were so sensitive about it. For a stretch of time, if you worked for Kiss, you weren't allowed to say Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park out loud. You weren't allowed to reference the movie. If you were fired.
Man.
That's the kind of stuff we're talking about. But then later they thought, okay, we're douchebags. Let's let that slide. You're looking for someone, but it's not Kiss. That's Paul Stanley from Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. Star Child! That's a line from Gene Simmons from the movie. You can look that up. And then Paul shoots a laser from his eye, and it causes everyone to freeze. They can't move. See if you can look that scene up, Josh. They're walking down a set of steps, or Wapple, whoever. They're walking down a set of steps after the concert is over, and they're waving to all the fans, and the fans are screaming. And then a woman approaches them and says, "I can't find my boyfriend. He's lost somewhere in the park." And then Paul and Gene, and you, whoop, 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 and everyone freezes.
I think that might be the scene I saw.
About a year or two ago.
Whoops, sorry.
You're looking for someone, but it's not Kiss. See, he read her mind. And then she said, well, yeah, actually, I'm looking for my boyfriend. All right, a little more baseball stuff here for you. New York Yankees reliever Tommy Kahnle. Heard of him?
Yes. Yes.
Sure you have. Kind of an emotional guy. When he has a poor showing on the field, he melts down. I thought earlier this year he might have picked up a portable toilet and threw it across the room or something because he had one of his teammates from the minor leagues told a story about Tommy Kahnle. When he has a bad outing, he punishes himself. And apparently one of the ways that he punishes himself is he will shave all of his body hair following a poor showing.
Oof. Start clean?
Yeah. I guess this reliever, Michael King, they both played together in the minors. He said, Kahnle had a bad outing. The next day I walked into the clubhouse and Kahnle is covered in shaving cream. He was in the process of shaving his entire body.
Would that worry you if you had a coworker that did something like that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'd be a tad concerned.
Definitely.
That sounds like... And so this Michael King guy says, what the hell's going on? You're nude with the shaving. And he says, it's a punishment. He's punishing himself by... Yeah, that would worry me.
I don't think I'd have the confidence to use shaving cream and razor to do all that.
Dude, yeah.
The steady hand.
Right.
What if you
one slip up?
Brad, what if your tallywhacker gets tangled up somewhere? You
Oh,
know
that's my point.
Did you save the quote, what King said? Once it was described to him what was going on?
He said, okay, sounds good, dude. And Kahnle acknowledges this, and he says he does shave his entire body, not his legs, though.
That's even weirder.
That he leaves the legs hair?
Yeah, that he just leaves a part. Either do it all or don't do any of it.
Josh mentioned this in his news report. LeBron James and his son Bronny are in Minnesota at the Mayo Clinic. Hopefully everything's going well. The young kid went into cardiac arrest a few weeks ago. But I thought this was, you tell me, there's video going around town of the two of them leaving the hospital, LeBron and little Bron. Mm-hmm. And there's teenage kids mobbing them with cell phones, and everyone's got their cell phone. Can we give them a friggin' break?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, really, especially in this situation.
Everyone with their phones out. I mean, if your favorite celebrity was going through something like that, would you chase them down for a picture?
Nope.
I think so, no.
You know, hey, sorry about your mom. Can I get a quick picture? I don't know.
No, you're right.
I know some of you can't help but fall down and masturbate to everything that Stephen Curry does, so here you go. Stephen Curry recently got on stage with a rock band called Paramore, and if you don't like them, hey, we determine what rocks around here, all right? Not you.
We play them so they rock.
They rock. Yeah. If we play them.
Sorry, end of story.
That's right. I know I've heard the name before. Paramore?
Yep.
I love them.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Maybe you get a kick out of this then, Wapple. So Steph Curry gets on stage with Paramore. He sang a song with them. I saw this question on social media. Does this mean Steph Curry is emo now? Are they emo?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Back in the day.
Yeah, it used to be more like.
I guess they're friends. Steph Curry and the band, how do you call it, Paramore?
Gosh, that'd be so cool to be able to do what he did. That's awesome.
I bet you Dell can't sing either. Don't you think?
It took me a second there. I thought you were like making an Adele joke, but no, you're making a Del Curry joke.
Del Curry. I bet you Dell couldn't carry a note in a bucket.
Hey, would you be bummed out? You go to that's one of their biggest songs, right? Misery Business. That's what it was?
Yep.
So it's one of their biggest songs. You go, you're a fan, whatever the band it is, and then they put
you got
Steph Curry singing it.
I'd be like, great.
And nowadays, I paid an S-ton to come to this show. Great,
Right.
that's Steph Curry. That's cool, but why did he have to sing on there?
That's a great question, Josh, because I even get aggravated when my favorite singers don't sing the song and they point the mic at the crowd.
I'm with you 100% on that.
That's true.
I mean, sometimes it sounds cool, but I came to hear you friggin' sing this song or that song. Oh. Here's an interesting text from Fat Lebowski. We're talking about that baseball pitcher who would punish himself by shaving off all of his body hair. Shaving off all your hair as a punishment sounds like something that Wapple's pimp would make him do. Wapple, are you working for someone?
No. This is news to me.
You do always have a slap mark on the side of your face from a pimp hand.
I know. Well, when you first started in the radio business, you were dancing after hours for wealthy elderly gentlemen.
Yes. I thought that was well-known information.
It was well-known information. I'm not acting like I'm dumping on any news on anybody.
What was the song you used to dance to Brad with?
Oh.
I see what you did there.
Somebody.
Oh, Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
Good tune.
Nice.
That's a great choice.
Yeah.
Listen to this now. Jaden McDaniels of the Timberwolves. I hope his hand is going to be 100% here soon. He's, according to what I read last night, he's grown 2 inches in the offseason.
It's nuts.
Wow.
So what is he now, 6'10"? Jaden McDaniels is a tall dude. Anyone know what his height was last year in the Wolves yearbook?
I'm going to guess 6'8".
6'8", yeah. I mean, he's a young guy. We were just talking about growth spurts yesterday, I think, weren't we?
Right.
Jesus.
That's impressive.
Bad news from Italian Jesus.
Oh, no.
Ever since we played that little clip of Paramore, he all of a sudden, for some unknown reason, turned off our show and started listening to Paramore. The old boss was right.
Yeah, online they have him listed as 6'9" already.
My damn. Tall kid. Vikings wide receiver K.J. Osborne. After his playing career, he wants to try to be an FBI agent.
This is pretty cool.
Oh, I'm an FBI agent. That's cool.
He wants to fight crime. He said he's getting his master's in criminal justice. We'll see how long I play yet. I've got a test left to finish up, so I'll finish that up and at least give myself the option. An FBI
I am an FBI agent.
You wouldn't have any trouble chasing folks down on foot.
That's a good point.
No.
You know, a former Gopher great receiver, Chris Gators, has been part of the MPD for over 20 years.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's right. I had Chris Gators.
Chris Gators.
I believe he wore jersey number 2.
Yeah, he played for the Gophers back in the, late 80s?
Yeah.
Yeah, great receiver. He wouldn't have any trouble chasing people down.
How much would that suck if you try to get away?
Yeah, you think you're going to outrun that guy. Forget it.
Yeah.
All right. Patrick Mahomes was named the number 1 overall football player by the silly NFL Network Top 100 Players of 2023 gimmick.
Yeah.
My damn, am I burned out on Patrick Mahomes. What's his name? Kelsey and the stupid Kansas City Chiefs. I'm sorry. I just have had enough. I've had friggin' enough.
It's August 9th, too. Just wait.
What does that mean?
Well, you've only got 5 or 6 more months.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Even started yet.
Brad Ryder, you know that this is the time of year where I get squirrely.
Yeah.
Because I know here comes the constant NFL banging us over the head crap. The guy here in town, Gerard, help me with the receiver.
Justin Jefferson.
Number 2. Number 2.
Yes.
You want to know the top 10? Number 10, Chris Jones of the Kansas City Chiefs. Never heard of him. Number 9, Micah Parsons of the Dallas Cowboys.
Micah Parsons.
Number 7, Josh Allen. Had enough of him, too. Next up, Tyreek Hill. Had enough. Joe Burrow had enough. Travis Kelce had enough. Nick Bosa had enough. Jalen Hurts, I'm okay with. That's number 3, Jalen Hurts. I'm okay with Jalen Hurts. He seems like a nice guy.
Good. Glad to hear that.
It's like that half-baked scene. F you, you're cool. F you, I'm out.
2 is Gerard Jefferson. Number 1 is Patrick Mahomes. Now, one of my all-time favorite football coaches, Sean Payton, is entering his first year as the Denver Broncos head coach. And he's already establishing some rules for his players. They got a preseason game coming up Friday, and he's got 4 rules he's laid out for starters after they leave the ball game. You want to hear about them?
Sure.
Rules.
Sure.
All right,
Yep.
Rules. Lillian cannot use the phone. I don't care if the house is burning down. If I come home and the fire department says they got a phone call from my wife, I'll kick your ass. What movie? Eddie Murphy Raw. Sean Payton's rules. Some of them are normal. Starters should get out of their uniforms once they're done playing. Put on some street clothes. I guess that's normal.
I don't see too many players like walking home or walking out to their car in their shoulder pads and cleats still.
Don't be wearing sunglasses on the sideline. Don't do any interviews after you're done with the game. Okay, but there's one rule that people are finding interesting. He's banned what he calls Gilligan hats, or bucket hats is what most folks call them. He didn't explain why he doesn't like bucket hats, but no one's allowed to wear a bucket hat or a Gilligan hat on the sideline.
Okay.
I love this guy. I love that guy.
Did anyone catch the first episode of Hard Knocks?
Not yet. I'm
Not
hoping
yet.
to today.
I watched it last night.
I did too.
How was it?
It was
Knocks.
good, actually.
Yeah.
Who's the
It was-
team
I
again?
thought Karen was really good.
Yeah, Nick, I'm not sure you can handle it because it's
Yeah.
mostly Aaron Rodgers.
The gas
Really?
bag?
I thought it was pretty good, though.
I did too.
That's okay. I won't be
So-
watching the gas bag.
That kind of shocks me that it's a lot about Aaron Rodgers.
Are you joking?
Well, no, because a lot of the times Hard Knocks is about like finding the underdog guy and watching
Yeah.
him through training.
There's a
camp and
little
stuff
bit
like
of that.
I'm
Just a
thinking
little-
in the first episode, they had to go hard in on the Rodgers thing.
Yeah.
And I also think their access to some of these players may be a little bit more limited than in the past. And so when it's limited like that, you really got to just kind of go with what you get out on the practice field or during the game or whatever. A lot of it was Rodgers' interaction with fellow quarterbacks, teammates, coaches, that kind of stuff. So.
You guys like bucket hats?
They're all right, yeah.
You see him a lot now.
Yeah.
I wear them quite a bit when I used to go to the softball fields.
They've made a nice comeback. Finally, we got to get going. Another one of the rules was that Lillian cannot go outside. You guys don't remember that bit from Eddie Murphy Raw?
Yeah.
God, that's good stuff. Lillian cannot use the phone.
Still waiting on that heifer, Julio. You. You're cool. And you, I'm out.
So classic.
What movie is that?
Half Baked.
Never saw it. The Iowa Hawkeyes football program not having a great last couple of years as far as the offense goes. Been one of the most painful teams to watch for a while now, according to this story. And I did hear some stories last year about the Iowegian offense was just terrible. They can't score any points.
They did struggle last year, yes.
So they've come up with something to keep the crowd entertained at home games this football season, just in case they blow on offense again. The Hawkeyes plan to unveil something called Der Wiener Schlinger.
Oh, okay.
It's a hot dog-shaped hot dog cannon.
Yes. So down for this.
Unleash Der Wiener Schlinger. I hope they have some kind of and then it rolls out and everyone gets a hot dog.
Jesus.
That's awesome. Not paying attention to somebody who takes a hot dog to the dome.
That's part of the fun.
Oh, God, he's got grandma right between the glasses.
What has to happen during the game for them to fire this cannon?
Oh, I don't think anything, Brad Redder. It says they're going to unveil it during a preseason, maybe that's not August 12th, non-conference game against the Vikings. I don't know who they're playing. They're going to unleash Der Wiener Schlinger upon the Iowegians.
That's so cool.
That's really cool. All right. There you go. Guys, we got to get going again. But we appreciate it. Randy Shaver will talk to you tomorrow, and Brad on Friday.
Okay.
If you got something going on with your health, if your body isn't feeling right, this or that, and you feel like it's time to talk to a doctor, start texting us now, 651-989-9393. Tell us what's up. Our next guest could help you out. Dr. P. Jesus is on the Half-Ass Morning Show next.
They want to glorify the fact that they're criminals. It's dumb. These guys are dumb. They deserve to be tossed under the jail just for being dumb.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show.
Hey, Minnesota. CJ Ham here. Huddle up for a second. You need someone to go the extra yard when your furnace or AC is out? Give the ball to the certified pros at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. They've been at it for 90 years. Ready? Break.
It's savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning State Fair specials. Deals on deals on deals. Savings from $30 on a tune-up all the way up to $950 on a new cooling system. Visit standardheating.com/offers for details on all their State Fair deals. Standard Heating, providing the comfort you deserve since 1930.
Are you currently enjoying the show on the Stitcher app? Then you need to know Stitcher is going away on August 29th. Yep. Going away, as in kaput, gone, dead. Rest in peace, Stitcher, and thanks for 15 years of service to the podcast community. So switch to another podcast app and follow this show there. Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen.
Dr. P. Jesus.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Yeah, Dr. P. Jesus is live in studio as we check in here, 8:27 on the Half-Assed Morning Show. If you've got something wrong with you, something or another troubling you, text in 651-989-9393. Dr. P. will try to figure your deal out for you. Dr. P., nice to see you again. Hello, James.
Hey, great to be here.
Looking good, son.
Yeah.
Thank you. Wow, you're very kind.
Why are you so dressed up? I mean, you got a button-up shirt on. We're not used to that.
Don't worry, I'll take it off halfway through.
Oh, that's part of it. Like anytime you get a question wrong.
Yeah, that's right. We're playing a strip segment today. Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna ask you some real tough ones.
Yes, a beautiful flannel button-up. You look like you're going to an Alice in Chains tribute concert or something like that with that flannel on.
I don't have hiking boots on or anything.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, it's a good thing you're here. Because we did get a lot of questions for a doctor.
Okay.
So
well, that's great timing.
Yeah, it's perfect. So getting right into it here. Someone said every night right before I fall asleep, I get all itchy. Wait, that's how I know I'm about to fall asleep. They go on to say.
Really?
What's up with that,
dude?
All itchy. Very interesting. Ooh. Oh, yeah, I guess I'm not sure. So it sounds like it's not really interfering with them falling asleep. That right?
Yeah, I had responded, and they said, it's not necessarily uncomfortable. It's more annoying.
Okay. I mean, it reminds me of when people have sort of restless leg symptoms, which can be described in many different ways. But
I've had that once. That's uncomfortable and annoying.
Yeah, and it's obviously more focused on the legs, but it doesn't necessarily mean. Sometimes people feel like they need to move them. Sometimes they feel like they're just kind of itchy and irritated. But I've heard people talk about having that sensation a little bit in other parts of their bodies. And actually, now that I think about it, after I had a knee replacement, one of them, I had terrible troubles falling asleep because I got what I was describing to people as it was like restless leg syndrome of my spine. I would get these like spasmy, itchy things throughout the body. So it can just happen. It can be a sleep disorder if it gets bad enough. I just broke this pen I'm holding. That's not going to help.
Uh-oh. Take off an item of clothing.
Oh, no.
You break it, you buy it.
When you are on air, you give writing utensils a beating.
I do, yes.
And you just broke a pen? Is there ink everywhere?
No, but there probably
we have to take clicky pens away from you.
Yes, I know. I learned that a long time ago by annoying the bejesus out of Nick over there. So, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't sound like anything bad. And, we all have that thing where sometimes you're falling asleep and you get sort of a little spasm that wakes you up.
Oh, I do that all the time.
Yeah, I feel like it happens more if you're sleeping in an odd position, like in an airplane seat, where you sort of snap.
So every once in a while, the leg or the arm will go. Sometimes it's a whole body kind of a twitchy.
Yeah.
Boom, you come flying off the sheets.
And it's probably sort of the initiation sequence. It sounds like we're launching a rocket. But, when you fall asleep, your body suddenly basically paralyzes you, really. It's pretty amazing because we don't tend to act out what we're dreaming and we don't move. People do have sleep disorders where they do act out dreams.
Yeah.
Hit their bedmate and, get up and move around. But so I think it's probably just some effect of that. But
the body easing itself into sleep mode.
Basically.
Okay.
Yeah. If it's really, really annoying, then it's good to go talk to somebody.
But there's nothing you're overly concerned about.
I don't think so.
Maybe he's got fleas or something.
Maybe the detergent allergy.
Oh, yeah.
You just wouldn't think it would be only when you're falling asleep.
Sure.
If it's a true skin irritation that's causing itching, scratching. So, if there's rash or something like that, then it's something else going on.
Okay. Burrito up your butt, Jesus. Says, toes are numb, feet hurt constantly, and it throws off my balance. Tested negative for diabetes, but it's getting worse. What's happening?
Okay, so toes were numb and it loses balance because of what again?
If feet hurt constantly.
Oh, hurt. Okay, so
no diabetes, but it's continuing to get worse.
All right. And it's important to bring up diabetes with these sorts of symptoms because it does sort of sound like neuropathy, where basically you have the nerves to the feet and legs are just not acting normally. And probably the most common cause of neuropathy, at least in this country, is diabetes type 2 that's been around for a long time, or I guess diabetes type 1 as well. But so if you don't have diabetes, then there's a whole host of other things that can cause neuropathy in the legs. But it often will be a combination of some. It seems weird because if you have numbness, you'd think, well, why would I have pain then? But it's because the nerves they're not working normally. So they're not providing sensation to touch, but they may give you sort of excessive pain either from touching them or not touching them, even just sitting there. And so it's the sort of thing that it can be actually a little challenging to figure out. There's some vitamin deficiencies that need to be ruled out. Things like multiple sclerosis we worry about, where you may have something up in the brain that's causing changes in the nerves. That's not high on the list for this person.
What about the fact that he suggests he has a burrito in his butt?
Oh, it was burrito. Yeah, although you would think you'd get extra nutrients from that, so I wouldn't think he'd be burrito deficient.
So unrelated.
Probably. But yeah, it's something that it's good to talk to the primary care doc, and often you do need to end up seeing a neurologist. And the way this is typically sorted out is a test called an EMG, where it's not a very fun test, but it's where they take I'll say small needles, and they put them in various areas along a limb, and they're trying to determine how much the sensory system is working with the nerves, and also the motor symptoms or motor abilities of the nerve. So electromyelogram would be. And that can give a lot of information to sort of point in the right direction. But it can be challenging to figure out. But yeah, if they're actually losing their balance and stuff from it, I mean, that's pretty significant.
Okay.
That would worry me a little bit. We're talking with Dr. P. Jesus here. Text in your health concerns, 651-989-9393. Just getting started. Let's get this one out of the way, because I bet you've heard it a million times. I've heard of this too, and now I can't remember what answer I got all those years ago. Listener wants to know, Dr. P, is it true that left-handers die, in general, on average, left-handers die sooner than right-handers, and why?
I don't believe I've heard that statistic before.
Oh, I'm surprised. What about the rest of you?
That kind of rings a bell, but I guess I don't.
Oh,
maybe
I've heard that.
I thought this was a very common thing that. Okay,
and maybe it's because I write with my left hand, so I might have ignored that bit of information. I am.
I'm not trying to
thanks a
scare
lot.
you. You don't look so good these days.
You just told me I look good.
Yeah, you did. You started that.
No, I was
it was
exaggerating.
It was a lie. Yeah.
Okay, I thought maybe this was something that doctors field all the time. That question.
No, I haven't been asked that, and that may be something in the break I can take a peek at. I'm just trying to think of any reasons. I mean, you could maybe imagine. Well, tools tend to be designed for right-handers, so people using a tool that does this or that might be at more risk of shooting a nail through their own
heart. It's funny you mentioned that, Dr. P, because I have heard that as a direct factor. What do you got there, Josh?
So this is from 10 years ago, a report on the BBC that said exactly what you said, Dr. P. It's more to do with the world is designed for right-handers.
Isn't that
so?
It's
not like inherent in a lefty that you're going to die sooner. It's just because the world's not designed.
Yeah, I mean, I bet. Now that I think about it, in grade school, the little scissors that they always had, they were. I mean, they're pretty. I don't know if they cut well if you're right-handed, but if you're left-handed, they didn't cut well. Just because if you think about how scissors work, you're sort of putting pressure in two directions as you squeeze, and if you're lefty, it's opposite. So there's probably kids that fall with their scissors trying to operate them and are taken out of society early, and that's obviously a very minor example of a tool.
Taken out of society early,
right?
Never heard impaled by scissors.
I should probably be advocating for equal rights for left-handers, and I hadn't even thought of that. Okay.
Josh,
make a note.
When I die in my obituary, it's mentioned that I was taken out of society.
Yeah. I like that.
I didn't mean to, and I'm sure our listener didn't mean to scare you. They probably didn't even know you were a left-hander, but I always thought that was interesting and wanted to hear your take on it. This is all new to you, so
it is, yeah. And I can't. I mean, because if you're lefty, it's the right part of your brain that is the dominant motor center, versus because it's opposite hemisphere of the brain controls opposite side of the body. And the right half and the left half of the brain are different. I mean, I think for most people, the motor functions are in that left hemisphere, and there is some disadvantage to being left-handed in terms of odds of having an issue driving a car, or
sure,
it probably is something to do with.
Speaking of odds, you're going to beat the odds. You're going to live forever as a lefty.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. How about a question about sunburn? How did everyone do this summer? It's not over yet, but how did everyone do this summer as far as sunburn goes?
Very little UV indoors.
Yeah.
I had one bad run-in. Ended up getting heat exhaustion from it.
That doesn't surprise me or anyone else that's ever met you, I imagine. That you did not know your limits.
Yeah, you should probably drink water when you're out on a boat when it's 90 degrees and sunny.
Right. Heat exhaustion, I guess, a little bit of a different spin, but sunburn. A listener says, I got bad sunburn the other day, and now I have bumps on my arms.
Oh, okay. It could be one of two things. I mean, sunburn is literally, the UV rays frying the skin, but it also fries the DNA in the skin, which is that's really the concern. Is that there's statistics about tanning that even if you go tanning like once or twice your risk of melanoma, which you don't want, is significantly higher. So the more times you're exposed to UV light, whether it's tanning or outside, it breaks DNA in the cells, and our cells are very good at repairing that. But after multiple exposures, there's errors that can happen in cells, and you can get a skin cancer.
I've asked my wife to stop laying out. So have the neighbors for a different reason. But
really? I would think they would encourage her.
No. They're very against it for good reason.
You haven't seen her lately.
She hasn't aged well, Dr.
Oh,
P.
geez, that's terrible.
Does she really lay out in the sun a lot?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
She loves it. And I've asked her, cause she even started kind of going to a tanning booth again a little while ago, and I'm like, hey, you're an adult, you can do what you want, but we need you around here, and that concerns me.
Jeez, I didn't know she was passionate about the sun.
I feel that I go through stages where I tried to stop tanning, fake baking, tried to stop doing that, and just laying out in the sun. But it's such a confidence booster, and I don't know if this is her thing either, Josh, but it does help with acne wise. If I'm breaking out, I can go to the tanning bed, and chances are my skin's going to be nicer afterwards.
Well, what would you rather have, zits or tumors all over your body?
See, but when you think about it like that, I don't really think about it like that, because I'm like, oh, that's a future problem. It's not present right now.
Future Ashley will worry
about
that, not current Ashley.
A good gal friend of mine did die from
melanoma.
Yes.
Oh, it's awful.
And it was caused from tanning beds.
Yeah.
Well, I could tell you for my wife, Ashley, she gets what's that, winter sadness, or winter depression? Not enough sun.
Seasonal depression.
Yeah, seasonal affective disorder.
I thought you said seminal.
Oh, geez.
And I was thinking she'd never had that problem with Cubby. He's a sex machine. Yeah.
Right.
What were you saying now?
So she gets affected by that, so it helps her, her moods.
Yeah, I
when
feel
it's dark and cold and whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, for that, for seasonal affective disorder, you can get benefits from bright light therapy that doesn't have UV in it. You can get as much benefit from that. Maybe more, because you can sit in front of it longer without getting burned. So.
There's cool. A couple of people are texting and go, "Uh-oh, what about grow lights?" Now they've got grow lights around.
That's a good question. I don't know what the wavelength of that is. But to get back to we should get back to this question.
Dude with the bumps on his arms, would you be worried?
It could be two different things. So a first-degree burn of any kind is just redness and irritation. A second-degree burn is when you get blistering of the skin. So it means it's penetrated deeper, and you literally have burned the next layer down, and you're getting blisters. So that may be the bumps.
Okay.
The other thing that is not too uncommon is sometimes people will have a sun reaction, where and this is where if you're on a medication that can cause it, there's multiple antibiotics that can cause sun sensitivity that will cause bumps. I feel like I've seen it more on the arms and the hands. Doxycycline is a classic one, and it's used for acne a lot. So there's people that are on it long term for really bad acne and may be exposed to it.
Sure.
Those would be the main things.
Do you know that the sun is a trigger for me? Well, not just me, for people with epilepsy. My neurologist had mentioned, they kind of say, here's some things to avoid, like scuba diving. They say I can't do that, which kind of bums me out. I'd like to try it.
The scuba diving is overrated garbage.
Oh, see, I didn't like snorkeling, but I thought scuba diving would be kind of cool.
It's all stupid. What did they say about the sun?
That can be a trigger. And I'll tell you, light makes, there's when you have an aura, and Dr. P, you could probably speak to this, light has a big deal, at least for me.
Well, then will you please start wearing your sunglasses? You never wear sunglasses,
but
ever.
I'm rarely outside.
When we walk from the building here to our cars, you look to be in pain when the sun is...
Well, there are times when we open the door, I'm like, my God, it's sunny
Seriously,
out here.
the way it reflects off the building, too.
But that's a problem for future Ashley, not me.
I mean, you see those warnings on a lot of TV shows these days that have flashing lights. Flashing lights are definitely a trigger. I guess I haven't necessarily heard of sunlight, but I mean, I don't know why it couldn't be. Because, something about visual stimulation can set off seizures. I think scuba diving wouldn't be so much that it's likely to cause seizures. It's just if you have a seizure when you're scuba diving, you're screwed.
Oh, you're done.
I guess
true. That's not going to work
He
out
just
well.
kind of listed off a bunch of things to avoid. Okay, I never considered that. I just assumed pressure.
Maybe there's some. There could be. Maybe the pressure changes.
You're a smart guy.
Trigger it. But you just don't want to have one down there.
You sink like a rock, and that would be we'd never find your remains because the octopuses and the sharks would eat you up, and then and then you would leave society. How
Yeah,
did
I
you
was
say
going to
it
say
earlier?
you would leave society.
You would leave society.
Dr. P. Jesus.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
You know the word, but it's hard when you read it, right?
I believe that's a Freudian slip.
Yeah, just constantly just overread it.
You're trying to say what word?
Often imitated.
Imitated, but twice now you've said intimidated.
Yeah.
I think that's Freudian.
Maybe because I'm intimidated.
That's what right. Dr. P. Jesus is here in studio. Here's what he's willing to do. He's willing to give you his professional opinion if you're not feeling well or if you're in some level of discomfort or any other medical advice you're looking for. 651-989-9393. I know we got some great questions coming in, but I wanted to cover something real quick. Earlier, Ashley was making some kind of a statement about how she believes that nicotine can help you last longer while in the throes of sexual passion.
Yeah.
She said her
from
boyfriend
experience.
sometimes hits an e-cig when they're in the middle of bumping uglies, and the sumbitch can go for hours.
I think it's hilarious that he takes a smoke break in the middle of it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a long session.
So she thought there might be something to nicotine aiding in his holding off of release.
I do have to say, one of the funnier situations is when one of us wants to hit it and we don't know where it is. Because you're like, you're doing the deed, and you're like, where is the e-cig? Is it under my back? Is it under the pillow?
We know, Dr. P. When she says we both want to hit it and we don't know where it is, she was referencing the e-cig. Yes.
We know where the other stuff is.
I was like,
think.
wow.
These two really flunked sex education.
I know I've had trouble. We might maybe need a little guidance, but you would hope, Ashley, you would know where it is.
I think I know.
You ever heard of nicotine helping a man or a woman's sexual performance?
I have not. I mean, if anything, I'm just trying to think how it would possibly, nicotine in general is not great for your blood vessels. That's one of the reasons.
What?
It causes premature vascular disease. You thought I was going to say something else, but
smart ass.
No, and it causes like spasm of arteries. So I'm just trying to think.
Ooh, I don't
if
like
there's
that.
any way that spasm of an artery.
Take this chew out of my mouth right now.
There are people texting in, or when Ashley brought it up earlier, saying the nicotine, like you said, it thins out the blood, or does something with the blood.
It decreases blood flow to things. I think. Because it's a vasoconstrictor to some degree. So
you'd think it would maybe kill a boner in the long run.
Yeah, but if you're a young guy, you gotta have.
He's young.
There's a big, what would you call it? A big. There's a margin of error with a younger guy. Like,
we, when we're young, we can cut through anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
So he could smoke a pack of cigarettes and still be okay.
Right. Whereas once you hit 40, there's a lot of things that can make things go wrong.
Yeah. So we don't have any proof on this. So don't go throwing a full bag of Red Man in your mouth.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and say let's not recommend that.
Yeah. All right, Josh. I know you said you had some real keepers over there from the Brother und Sisterhood.
Yes, and I want to pre-apologize. We know people will take the time to send these in, and I wish we could get to all of them. We just kind of get to them as they come in here. Light switch 0.08 Jesus. Hasn't peed in 3 days.
Oh!
History of kidney stones, pain in stomach, please help.
That can't be.
Please help.
I've never heard of something like that.
That's very bad.
That is very bad.
Yes, that's it.
Like urgency room bad?
No, that's really. That's beyond urgency. That's emergency.
Go to the emergency room.
Are you really? Go to the emergency room?
Oh, truly, 3 days. That's insane. Yeah, your bladder could be hugely dilated, and then it's going to get injured and not work again.
Oh man, yeah, dude, please.
But more concerning is if you've got a history of kidney stones. You could literally have bilateral kidney stones blocking the ureters, which means you get back pressure up into the kidneys, which can put you into kidney failure. So,
oh man,
this is the scariest damn 2 minutes of radio we've ever had.
Yeah, that's absolutely nothing to wait on.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm glad you texted that in.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, you got a day off of work. Go to the friggin' emergency room.
Yeah, you really do. Because they need to determine, the urine may not even be making it to the bladder, or because if it does and then it's not coming out, then there's something else obstructing, like a prostate problem. And I've seen that where a prostate can get so large that it literally put someone into renal failure. But yeah, you have to get rid of your urine.
Text us tomorrow after you go to the emergency.
Yeah, truly. I mean, go now.
The look in your eyes what makes me uneasy. It's
just
like when your dad tells you, "Yeah, you don't have to be worried unless I'm worried." You look worried.
Yeah, I mean, we don't get thankfully we don't get too many texts or calls here where it is like, this is nothing to wait on, but
that's scary.
Absolutely one of them.
Relax, Doc.
Yeah, and you're saying not even urgent care, emergency.
No, emergency, because you need immediate imaging. They need to put a catheter in. Almost certainly, and you need to see a urologist immediately.
They got to get that pee out of there.
They do.
Or it'll start coming out your eyes.
Well, I mean, that's good for anybody else that might have something like that happen, God forbid.
Right.
Now we know.
We're not done yet, Dr. P. Take a hit from that e-cig.
Yeah. It'll make you last longer.
We're going to keep pumping here.
My daughter gets nosebleeds. What could cause them to happen? She hasn't had anything hit her nose or any previous trauma. I don't have an age.
Yeah, the most common cause of nosebleeds
is
digital manipulation of the nose.
Nose pickers.
Yeah. So that is the most common thing.
I was about to say I used to get terrible nosebleeds as a kid, but now I don't want to say it.
Were you a terrible nose picker?
No, but just sports mainly, you know. A strong breeze would cause on my soccer field would cause my nose to start bleeding.
What would sports have to do with it?
Just getting hit in the face with a ball.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah,
that's not an unexplained nose. and I'd imagine by your teammates on purpose.
Right. So that is probably the most common. That's probably in younger kids. We don't know how old this kid is, but
I'm assuming young. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes people will just, for whatever reason, you can have a superficial blood vessel, just up inside the nose, under the delicate tissues of the nose, which are just like the tissues in your mouth, and if one of these little blood vessels is right near the surface, it can just keep repeatedly bleeding. So dry air is a problem.
That's what I get. I get them all the time.
So in the winter?
Yeah, winter.
That's hilarious.
Did you say winter's hilarious, or
no? The fact that Wapple just ups and gets a nosebleed all winter long, I find that funny.
No, it's not all winter long. It's like right when the seasons kind of switch, I get it for like about a week.
And when you're practicing telekinesis, right afterwards.
Right. That's very stressful in the nose.
I know a dude who could make his nose bleed just by sticking the eraser of a pencil just slightly into his nose. His nose would start to instantly bleed. So when we were young, he would get out of detention.
Wow.
That's smart.
And oh my God, your nose is blue. You'll have to go straight home. That kind of a thing.
Yeah,
it was brilliant.
Deal with that.
Brilliant.
But dryness is probably the key. There is a group of blood vessels called, I'm pretty sure it's Kesselbach's plexus. I could be wrong on that. And if I am, I will take off my shirt. But it's notorious for it. And if it's really a recurrent problem, you end up seeing an ear, nose, throat doctor, and they can do a little cautery. It can be done in family med doc's office too.
So at what point do they bring the kid to the doctor?
I think trying some moisturizing stuff. So you actually can get. Saline is salt water, so you can squirt salt water. There's little mists that you can get. Ocean nasal spray.
What about a little bit of brandy?
A little bit of brandy is not a good idea.
Wobble, have you ever considered putting a little KY up your nose?
And
have you ever accidentally got it up there somewhere?
Oh, geez. And you can use a little bit of a lubricant like that,
sure,
or a little bit of a Vaseline, and just sort of get it in there that it just causes a little bit of a protective layer to hold in moisture.
Okay.
And trying that for a bit is absolutely worth it. That's usually what the docs would have you do before they start cauterizing.
You know, I had some weird ear issues, right, for a little while. I talked to you a little bit about Dr.
Yep.
And the ear, nose, and throat lady, awesome, by the way. She was awesome.
Sexy, huh?
Yeah, that too. She was sexy as well. But she told me to put olive oil in my ears.
Oh.
Have you heard of something like that? I thought at first she's like, she's messing with me.
I don't know that I've heard that. I mean, there are other types of oil things that, a lot of the products that are used to.
Like a casserole or?
No, but just, I would say that maybe olive is just the cheapest way to, it's doing the same thing though. It's
lubricating.
Lubricating and also helping displace water though in the case of an ear.
That's funny,
I'll
Josh.
tell you this. Yeah, they had another thing that because I had mentioned, I had another doctor, because they thought it was, I did have ear infections. And the medicine she prescribed me was insane expensive. You know, I
sure.
didn't ask at the time, but
Yeah,
when I
it
went
is.
to pick it up, it was like $100, right, for eardrops.
Jeez.
And I Googled just out of curiosity what's in it, and I put in the names and everything. And you could buy the same thing at PetSmart for $9.
Yeah.
So I had asked this other doctor, I'm like, is it the same thing? She's like, yeah, I mention that to people all the time.
Really?
No way.
You can buy it right off the
So
shelf.
you went and got doggy eardrops.
Yeah, for
I mean,
$9 versus 90
Instead
something.
of olive,
Yeah, that's-
olive oil, imagine.
But now I'm rubbing my butt on the carpet all the time.
And sniffing your friends.
I can't stop sniffing butts.
I'm glad you didn't put olive oil in your friggin'
I
ears.
couldn't do it.
You
I-
would
I'll-
have smelled like you just put in a 10-hour shift at the Italian restaurant,
Yeah,
you know.
here I am coming fresh off of Olive Garden.
Right.
There is a home remedy to use olive oil in your ears because it helps break up the water in your
Yeah,
ears.
because basically, if you think about it, oil and water don't mix. Oil displaces water. And
That's
so,
great.
And the problem you were having, Josh, was water, basically. Sort of
Yeah.
otitis externa.
It was weird. Say that again?
Otitis externa.
Oh, that's hot. Now I'm taking my shirt
That was
off.
the lead singer of Gwar for a few years.
I know we're running late.
Yeah,
but
we're about done.
I want to help out some grandparents here.
Sure.
Our grandson, when he wakes up in the morning, we turn the light on, he sneezes 3 times.
Olive oil.
When we pick him up from daycare to bring him outside in the light, he sneezes 3 times. Anytime he's exposed to light or a different level of light, he will sneeze. And we're worried it's a precursor to epilepsy.
Jesus.
Have you heard of
criminy.
something like that before?
No.
That's from Lambo Jesus, by the way. Got to get it right in that thing.
Word.
Yeah. Oh, like that kind. I was thinking Lambeau Field. Okay, Lambo.
Oh, shoot. You know what? Maybe it
Lamborghini.
is.
No, it's not
I always thought it
Lambeau
was
Field. It's not.
Lamborghini.
I guess I don't. I have not heard of that as. I mean, that is.
I thought I'd heard that sometimes animals can look up at the sun and then they sneeze. I don't know. Maybe that was the liquor
Oh,
talking.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like sneezing is obviously something that we understand to some extent, but it's also sort of like yawns, where I think people can have triggers for sneezing that isn't that you have a cold or a virus or you're congested. I don't think they should be worried about that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the kind of thing that it's worth mentioning to the pediatrician the next time the kid's in for a well child.
Yeah.
This took a turn. I got a follow-up text.
Oh,
here.
okay.
I don't know.
And then the eyes fell out?
The eyes have completely come
Oh,
out.
that's bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it turns out the kid was allergic to the eyes. No longer sneezes.
Excellent.
Medical
Excellent.
miracle. Okay, their daughter, the kid's mom, was a fentanyl addict all the way up until a month before the kid was born. They want to know, could that be a factor? And if so, are there some implications there?
Boy.
Sorry to complicate things. but-
That is a complicated one. I mean, certainly fentanyl use right up to delivery can cause complications. Did they say how old this kid is? Or is it an infant?
No. Well, they don't say. Grandson when he wakes up in the morning. That's all I have.
I think most issues with fentanyl would be right around the time of birth, because fentanyl is a very short-acting drug, and so if you're sort of dependent on it, you would get weaned off of it quickly. It's harder when people are on heroin or longer-acting ones. Fentanyl just doesn't last very long in your system. So, I'm outside my element there. I don't think that they need to worry about that, but maybe that's one. I might have to look that up, and I will bring it back next time we're on.
Does that change your answer from next time? Bring it up next time to maybe make an appointment.
Oh, I think as we always note, it is not a bad idea to make an appointment to discuss any of these things with your primary doctor or the specialist that they recommend.
Sure.
And if this is a young kid, then they would tend to have child visits every 2 months for the first 6 months of life, and then a 9-month visit, a 12-month visit. So there should be one coming up.
All right.
If it's just 3 sneezes when they wake up, 3 sneezes when they come out of daycare, I don't think you need to rush in. It's not going to. That's not a warning sign to me.
Right.
It's an interesting thing to note.
It is.
And maybe it is a little bit of irritability of the nervous system or something. But yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up.
Hey, Wample.
Mm-hmm.
You ever sneeze really hard when you have a nosebleed?
Oh.
What you
And
have?
totally ruin your new Orange Cassidy T-shirt?
To Orange Cassidy, it adds something more. You know?
I suppose it does. Yeah, he looks like he just had a hardcore match against Dean Ambrose or whatever his name is. Dean Ambrose. What am I talking about? What am I trying to say, Wapple?
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
John Moxley.
There we go.
Yeah, John Moxley.
I was like, Dean Ambrose was WWE.
Right. Oh, man, Dr. P, you put in a day today.
Ooh, these are some tough ones today.
You friggin' did.
Yeah.
Yeah, yet you still have all your clothes on.
I do.
You are a liar.
You liar.
Good doctor.
Wasn't it if
liar.
I clearly got it wrong, I was going to...
Oh, that's true. You probably didn't clearly get anything wrong.
You let her buck, and our listeners will never be the same. Thanks very much for your time, James.
You bet.
Couple weeks we'll revisit Dr. P. Jesus.
Perfect.
Already looking forward to it. QA Jesus sending a happy 20th anniversary to his wife, Triple D Jesus. Happy birthday to Lexi from Dad, Picnic Table Jesus. And we welcome little Parker to the world from Mom and 28 and still beardless Jesus. Have a happy hump day.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
It's savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning State Fair specials. Savings from $30 on a tune-up all the way up to $950 on a new cooling system. Visit standardheating.com/offers for details on all their State Fair deals.